Chapter 605. Jiang Zhao felt that he needed to stuff Yi Er's mouth with cotton wool so that she couldn't scream. This woman always had the ability to drive him crazy. If he continued to go along with her, he was afraid that he would be angered to death by her. There would always be the smell of disinfectant in the hospital. This smell was like gunpowder when it entered his nostrils. Xiun Wu was a handsome young man. Handsome. She dared to say that another man was handsome in front of him. This wasn't the first time she had been so bold. It wasn't enough to praise his beauty, she even praised his kindness. Jiang Zhao. You're going to bite me again, aren't you? Are you jealous? Jealous that I think Yun Wu is handsome. When I say that Yun Wu is kind and nice, you're jealous. You like me, don't you? You're in love with me, aren't you? Yi Er raised her small chin. Her lower jaw was clenched, and her small mouth was slightly open. Her pink lips were also bent, and the smile on her face spread all the way to the corners of her eyes. Jiang Zhao exhaled. This little hussy, just forget about this, right? Wait for this, right? You. Look at you, this little shrew. What's there for me to like? All you do is cause trouble for me. What's there for me to like you and fall in love with you? Why, are you crazy for me to fall in love with you? Even in your dreams, right? Jiang Zhao also learned from Yi Er and smiled. When he smiled, he was fighting a psychological battle with the other party. Humph, the woman's eyes were dark like two marbles under the light. Yes, even in my dreams, I'm waiting for you to fall in love with me. If you fall in love with me, I'll win. It's a pity, Yun Yi, you'll never win in this lifetime. The man's silhouette seemed to have been carved. His handsome face was clearly overflowing with the morning sun. At that moment, the beautiful scene made one's heart palpitate. The stars in his eyes were sparse, but the flowing light was exceptionally dazzling. Yi Er was arguing non-stop a second ago, but in the next second, she was seduced by his beauty. The man's forced lips were mesmerizing. She couldn't win. He was hers. She could spend the rest of her life with him. Did he dare to say that she couldn't win? Was he the heavenly emperor? She turned her head and bit the back of the man's hand. The man cried out in pain, Yun Yi. Are you a dog? In the next second, a thin and soft tongue wrapped around the man's hand and sucked slowly. The big hand that was pressing down on the woman's other shoulder loosened slightly. He stared blankly as the woman slowly licked the place she had just bitten. This little thing. She always used such vulgar methods to shut him up. But he always enjoyed it. There was no pressure on Yi Er's shoulder, and her body was still being straddled by Jiang Zhao. She ignored him and raised her hand to hold Jiang Zhao's hand. She opened it up and brought it closer to her mouth so that she could enjoy it slowly. Touching the man's palm, her fingertips touched his career line, his relationship line, and his lifeline. It was said that the lines on one's hand would change. The clear and deep relationship line in his palm, where it was broken, would the end of it become clear and deep because of her. The soft touch in his palm and the soft wet kiss on his hand. Jiang Zhaogang said, Yun, Yi Er interrupted, hubby, does it still hurt? Jiang Zhao sighed softly. Why was he still in pain? This woman. She really made him love and hate her. He froze and forgot that he still had to go to the restaurant. Someone had stolen half a day of leisure. He had stolen half a day of joy in the morning. He leaned over and hugged the woman with his long arms. He lay down on his side and faced her. If I continue to be tormented by you, I won't go to work. How can that do? If you don't go to work, what am I going to eat? Then why are you still making a fuss? Then give me a kiss and I won't make a fuss. Yi Er pouted. Jiang Zhao had no choice. He grabbed her chin and kissed her lightly. He really didn't dare to kiss her deeply. She was just taking the initiative to get close to him for a moment, and he had the urge to indulge. But it was too late. He had to go to the restaurant quickly. There must be a lot of things to do today. Yi said, "Hubby, I'm almost done. I want to be discharged and go back to school." "Go back to school when the injury on your head is better." "Actually, hubby, I don't want to study accounting." "Oh. I want to learn to dance." Yi lowered her head. She loved Jiang Zhao, and she had thought of giving up her hobbies for him. She could learn accounting, but dancing didn't have to go to a specialized school. "All right, I'll continue to take the exam for that major. But can I learn to dance in my spare time?" "What for?" Jiang Zhao said. His hand was still grabbed by Yi. At this moment, he pulled her closer to his mouth and kissed her. "Dancing at your age in elementary school is good. You have a better figure and a better temperament. You're not going to develop in that direction, so why do you still want to learn that? Besides, I don't want you to develop in that direction. No matter how good your wife's figure is, no matter how good she looks when she twists, you can't just wear a few pieces of fabric and dance in front of thousands of people. You haven't seen those dances on TV. Once you lift your leg, you'll be exposed. Although you can wear some clothes to prevent exposure, when it comes to my wife, I feel very strange." "I don't agree." Yi let out a huff and deflated. Jiang Zhao's thinking was very old-fashioned. Really, he couldn't keep up with the trends at all. He was just like the old men in ancient times. He was very bad. How could dancing on the stage in front of thousands of people be considered as twists? Besides, what was he looking at? Was he looking to see if she was exposed? This guy's thinking was too unhealthy. Was it old-fashioned or fashionable? That was art. Did he know anything about art? It seemed like she didn't know much about art either. It was just like how Unwu said she couldn't appreciate his paintings. Yi could only take a step back. She didn't know when she would be able to enlighten this fossil. Then people say that dancing can train the body. Can you let me train my body? Sure. I agree with this. If you don't train well, you won't be able to feed me. Jiang Zhao's hand subconsciously went under Yi clothes to her chest and pinched it. Hey. Yi was slightly annoyed, but she wasn't annoyed by Jiang Zhao's actions. She liked the feeling of being held in his arms. The two of them were lying on their sides facing each other. At this moment, Yi lifted one leg and placed it on Jiang Zhao's waist. Really? Yes, I agree. Really? His large hand trailed down her chest to her waist, gently and heavily rubbing it slowly. When you're discharged from the hospital, you can go anywhere you want to learn. Hubby, actually, I want to open my own dance studio. Is that okay? Yi felt that this was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. What exactly do you want? The man was more rational than Yi imagined. He tightened his grip, causing Yi to frown. You want to take a mile after taking an inch, don't you? Hubby, are you worried about the money? I've asked around. It doesn't cost much to open a dance studio. At most, I'll pay you back when I earn money in the future. Yi thought that it was already painful. If she didn't continue talking, it would be for nothing. What nonsense are you talking about? Do I look like I'm worried about money? Jiang Zhao's face turned green. The most infuriating thing was her last sentence. She would pay him back when she earned money in the future. He still wanted her to pay back the money he spent for her. What kind of husband and wife were they? Or did she want to draw a line between them and settle the matter? Thinking of this, Jiang Zhao's heart skipped a beat. Is that what you think of me? Yi was taken aback. She lowered her head. No. Her voice was as soft as a mosquito's and filled with sadness. I just want to do something that I like. Before the Yun family fell, Dad said that he would send me overseas to study. Even if I couldn't develop my career overseas, I could come back and open a dance studio. I've been thinking about it. I feel like I've lost something if I don't open one. Alright. I'll send someone to select a location with you and see if there's anything you need. Okay, you tell her. I'll get her to contact you later. Yi Er looked up. She was stunned. Huh? What? You don't want to open one? Yes. Yi Er nodded her head like a chick pecking at rice. Jiang Zhao took off the hat on Yi Er's head and tidied her messy hair. But I have to make it clear to you. You can open a dance studio, but you can't accept gifts from others. This is a big taboo. I'm sure there will be a lot of people who want to use their connections to give you gifts. It was fine when you stayed at home in the past, but now that you're running a business, there will be people who want to take advantage of you. Remember, you can't accept anything other than the money you're supposed to receive. Yi Er nodded her head again. Jiang Zhao didn't know whether Yi Er understood or not. Just remember it. When the time comes, there will be a lot of rich ladies coming to buy cards when they know that you have opened a dance studio. There are a lot of things you must know well. Your husband doesn't need to accept bribes. Yi Er nodded even more fiercely this time. Honey, I understand. I understand. I won't cause any trouble for you. I promise. Jiang Zhao was glad that they could talk about such topics that would lower the temperature. After saying that, he quickly got up and walked to the dressing mirror to fix his appearance. He didn't want to waste any more time with Yi Er and left. Yi Er didn't expect Jiang Zhao to agree to her request so readily. Could it be that he liked to goad people into doing things? That didn't seem to be the case. That's right. Jiang Zhao was actually quite kind. Perhaps it was because of his compassion. She smiled, sat up, and swung her legs. As she was swinging her legs, the door opened. Qing Su walked in. How are you, Sister Yi Er? Yi Er leaned towards the side. She turned her head and understood what Qing Su meant. She ran her fingers through her hair and tucked it behind her ear. Lulu, come and sit. I'm fine. You look fine. Qing Su walked between the two beds. Let me ask you something. Go ahead. Is Min Hongxing and Jiang Zhao at odds because of your relationship with that wastrel, Min Zikai? Qing Su originally didn't want to ask, but when she heard the commotion over here, she simply wanted to come over and ask about Yi Er's situation today. But when she saw Yi Er's excited expression, her guess went very smoothly. But for some reason, she remembered that Min Hongxing had said this morning that he and Jiang Zhao weren't on the same page. Qing Su was still young and didn't understand many of the conflicts. She couldn't tell the difference between the factions at the back. But from Min Hongxing's words, she could roughly deduce that Min Hongxing and Jiang Zhao weren't on the same page and were enemies. But this didn't feel good. She couldn't tell what was wrong. Yi Er frowned and thought for a moment before saying, Is it possible to say that it has nothing to do with me? Min Zikai's mother doesn't like me. Your father naturally doesn't like me either. If I'm with Jiang Zhao, would he like Jiang Zhao? Qing Su sat down on the bed opposite Yi Er. It was rare for her to act like an adult and think deeply. She waved her hand and shook her head. But Sister Yi Er isn't like that. I just think that Jiang Zhao doesn't like Min Hongxing. Him. I think he's alright. He doesn't seem to be doing anything that displeases the eye. Qing Su stood up. She didn't know if coming here today was the right thing to do. She felt that it was unnecessary. She was conflicted, but she didn't know why she was conflicted. Beauty novel, Songshu 566. Chapter 606. Jiang Liqing paced back and forth in his office. He wasn't bragging. If he wanted to investigate something, as long as he had a clue, there was nothing he couldn't find out. Once he found out about the news, it turned out that the editor had a crush on Ouyang Yen and wanted to ruin Ouyang Yan's reputation. It was on purpose. What the F***K was this? If she had a crush on Ouyang Yen, then so be it. Why did she have to drag his son into it? This reporter must have been kicked in the head by a donkey. Jiang Liqing thought about it carefully. Even if the reporter had a crush on Ouyang Yen, followed him, and slandered him, why did she have to drag Jiang Zhao into it? One had to know that with Jiang Zhao's status, it wouldn't be good for the reporter to drag him into it. Why couldn't they just fabricate a story about him? Or could it be that Jiang Zhao's story was on the front page? Was there exposure? It was too abnormal. He didn't intend to tell Jiang Zhao about this immediately. He still had to investigate further. Based on his intuition, it couldn't be that simple. The Jiang, Qin, and Shi families were originally on good terms with their ancestors. But when it came to their grandchildren, their relationship became delicate. Outsiders didn't know about the conflict between Jiang Zhao and Shi Yunwu. Jiang Zhao couldn't say it either. After all, his wife's nude body had been drawn. He couldn't tell anyone about it. Besides, the elders in the family were on good terms with each other. Naturally, they would want their grandchildren to be on good terms with each other. He didn't want to ruin it. But he couldn't protect it either. There was no way to protect it. This kind of friendly relationship could only end in his generation. Who could stand his friend coveting his wife every day? What Shi Yunwu did was definitely not something a friend would do. So he didn't need to treat Shi Yunwu as a friend. So when the news came out and Jiang Liqing started investigating, Jiang Zhao instinctively suspected Yunwu. It was understandable. When he returned to the office, he sent Lu Qing away. After closing the office door, Jiang Zhao took out an ordinary cell phone from his briefcase and dialed a number. After the call connected, he said calmly, "Young Fan, let Gu Qin handle the company's matters first. These 2 days, focus on investigating this morning's news. It's best if you can find the person behind it." Young Fan chuckled and replied casually, "Okay." Jiang laughed coldly, "Of course, it's best if you can't find the person behind the scenes. Forget about the bonuses and annual leave." "That's right. I think the bonuses are too high and the annual leave is too long. It has cultivated the lazy nature of our subordinates." "Check, check, check. Boss, check right away." Jiang Zhao smiled, "How's the thing I asked you and Gu Qin to do?" Young Fan said, "Boss, it hasn't been done yet, so I haven't reported it to you. Min Zikai is a little greedy. Originally, we lured him into taking the bait and shipped a large batch of tiles to Canada as you said. Then, something happened in the middle and he asked for a lot of compensation. Min Zikai is probably used to living like a prince. He has never taken on a big contract. Now that he wants to take over the Min Group as soon as possible, he wants to take a big bite out of it. It's good that he can take on our business." Jiang Zhao wasn't in a hurry. His tall body was nestled in the office chair, arrogant and serious. He tiptoed and the chair turned. When it turned to face the window, his shiny leather shoes stopped and the chair stopped turning. Jiang Zhao held the ordinary cell phone in one hand and put the other on the desk, tapping gently. He waited for Yang Fan to continue. Yang Fan sighed. This deal was originally going to be done, but last time, it was messed up by a little girl. Later on, I checked and found out that it was his sister, Lu Qingsu. Jiang Zhao frowned. If this was going to happen, it would have happened before sister-in-law's accident. At that time, we were at the nightclub with some prostitutes. Min Zikai's sister followed him to the nightclub and said that she wanted to tell Sister Duo about him looking for prostitutes. We didn't hear her clearly, but Min Zikai's face darkened and he wanted to leave. When we asked him about the business, the little girl said confidently that Min Zikai couldn't make the decision for the Min family. If he wanted to talk about big business, he would have to talk to Min Hongxing. She dragged Min Zikai away. I really don't understand. Logically speaking, it should have been fine after that, but after that day, when we talked about the freight, Min Zikai said that we shouldn't talk about this anymore. Jiang Zhao smacked his lips and changed his tone. Are you talking about a little girl who looks like she's 16 or 17 years old? That didn't make sense. How could Lu Qingsu help Min Zikai? And even if she wanted to help, how could Qingsu know that someone had set a trap for Min Zikai? This was too bizarre. Yeah, she's just a 16 or 17-year-old girl. She's very fierce. After talking about that big sister duo, Min Zikai will be obedient to Gigai. Jiang Zhao could already tell that it wasn't some big sister duo, it should be big sister Yi Er, right? Min Zikai actually cared so much about Yi Er's opinion. Let's not talk about those who haven't made any progress. What about now? I told him that I have a friend from the border of Yunnan and Burma who specializes in the jade business. He has a batch of jade that is going to be shipped to Europe. If he takes this business, he can make a lot of money. Moreover, he can do it privately. If the cooperation is good, my friend will ship a batch of jade every season. It will save him a lot of trouble and make money. Yang Fan said. Not bad. The price of the jade is scary. Jiang Zhao was expressionless when he said this. He didn't want Qingsu to jump out and ruin things. We don't know if it will work. She wants to open a dance studio, so it's best to get Gu Qin to check out all the information. Since she wants to open a dance studio, she should do it well. She has to do a market research, and the surrounding neighborhoods should be equipped with it. She has to do a thorough investigation of the surrounding housing prices and spending power. It's best to set the price properly, and guide her to do it. I'm worried that she doesn't know how to run a business, and if she doesn't do it well, her confidence will take a hit. Her confidence will be affected. He asked her to do things because he wanted her to do them happily. He would be annoyed if she pouted the moment she returned home. Don't worry, boss. We'll do a good job with sister-in-law. Yang Fan promised. Okay. You promised so well. If she can't make money, I'll make trouble for you. Yang Fan finally laughed awkwardly. After talking for a while, Jiang Zhao hung up the phone and put it away. His handsome eyebrows were like ink, but not like a big knife. When he was serious, he was ruthless and fierce. When he was gentle, he was elegant. At this moment, his eyebrows were tightly knitted, making people want to reach out and gently smooth them. The road along the river in Haiqing led to the shallow beach. The scenery along the way was pleasant. The river was wide and spacious. It was especially tranquil in the morning and evening when there was no fishing season. In winter, the river was always foggy, and the mountains in the distance were like a barrier. It was like an otherworldly paradise. The man was tall and strong, with bronze skin on his cheeks. His woolen hat was very big, and it wrapped around his head, making his head look very good. The liver-yellow leather jacket he was wearing looked a little old, but it also had a sense of being tempered by the passage of time. Standing on the road beside the river, he didn't admire the scenery. Instead, he looked at the road. He took a deep puff of the cigarette in his hand and threw it on the ground. He stepped on it and put it out. This area was the last place where Qingsu's car crashed into Yi Er's car. The man's gaze fell. At that time, there were a lot of messy tire scratches. But now, the ground was neat and tidy. The tire scratches from before were long gone. In this world, everything could be worn down, including life. But things like memories were hard to erase. They could be bred, such as feelings and hatred. The man's phone rang. His gaze was cold, but it inevitably made people feel dangerous. He was like an extremely cold-blooded hunter. Occasionally, when he heard the name of the person on the phone, his eyes narrowed and a murderous aura burst out. "Don't worry, I'll finish the business he didn't finish." "I know. Of course, this is the rule in the industry. But I'll give you another business for free." How about that girl with the surname Liu?" "She's not interested. I'll give it to her as a favor." Gusts of cold wind blew by the riverside. The wind was mixed with layers of water vapor. After a while, the man's black woolen hat was stained with water vapor. After he finished the call, the water vapor condensed into a thin layer of water droplets. His cold-blooded eyes narrowed slightly. The water vapor by the riverside instantly condensed into frost. The surrounding air seemed to have dropped by a few degrees. His voice was calm, but there was hatred in it. "Brother, I won't let you die in vain. I'll help you finish the business you didn't finish." When Eunwoo rushed to the auditorium of the College of Communication in the university town, the press conference had already ended. Many people were replaying the video recorded on their phones. Eunwoo easily obtained the video with his quiet and elegant face. The sparse crowd told Eunwoo that he had been here for a long time. He stood under the locust tree with his hands in his pockets. When he got out of the car, he wrapped a scarf around himself. When he raised his head, the sun shone on his face. There was no warmth, but he could feel the sharpness of the wind. It cut his skin, causing waves of pain. When she woke up, he asked her for meat. The next day, she played with him. Suddenly, there was no hope again. Did she have to depend on Jiang Zhao to survive? It was already noon. Jiang Zhao took advantage of the lunch break to have lunch with Yi Er at the hospital. When he heard her phone ring, he stood up to get it for her. The words "Eunwoo" appeared on the screen. His face darkened. After the argument in the morning, she insisted that he was jealous of Eunwoo. He didn't want to admit it. "Answer it. Use the speakerphone." It was a simple sentence, but because he deliberately avoided looking at it, it had an inexplicable sense of dominance and dominance. It was clearly an order. Yi Er was still holding the spoon in one hand. She took the phone and placed it on the table. Her index finger touched the screen. She slid it open and pressed the speakerphone. "Eunwoo." Jiang Zhao's face darkened again when he heard her soft greeting, but he deliberately kept quiet. He didn't believe that if he was unhappy, he would be caught red-handed by her. Jealousy was meaningless. Instead, it made her more arrogant. Eunwoo sighed and slowly let out a long breath. His voice was still the same, like the tinkling of spring water. However, it was autumn now, so it wasn't as cheerful as spring. The tinkling sound was slow and weak. "Hey, Yi Er." Welfare, Shinwoo 799. Chapter 607. Yi Er tightened her grip on the spoon. She and Eunwoo had known each other for a long time, and she had admired him for a long time. Eunwoo was a dream that she yearned for. Sometimes, when she thought about it, she felt like Eunwoo was a dream in her heart, a dream that was like a fairyland. She thought that if there was a day when she could live as carefree as Eunwoo, how great would that be? It didn't matter if she was a little poor. She liked to paint. Even if the wind blew, the rain fell, the sun shone, and the wind blew, she wouldn't stop. Eunwoo was a beautiful dream for her. This dream was pure and flawless, clean and pure, untainted by the mortal world. At this moment, his voice seemed to be inexplicably stained with dust, revealing a faint hint of sadness. Jiang Zhao tilted his head, and Yi Er's emotions instantly leaked out. Everything fell into his eyes. It was hard to understand a person's state of mind, but Yi Er's treatment of Eunwoo had always been different, and this had always made him feel ill at ease. At this moment, her absent-minded look and the way she suddenly gripped the spoon handle made his anger slowly spread. He thought that there was no emotion in this world that he couldn't control. At this moment, he didn't believe that he couldn't control himself. Did you get together with Jiang Zhao because of what happened with Uncle Yun? I'll help you, okay? Don't make yourself suffer like this. No one could stand her husband having a mistress outside, right? The news had already been reported like this, yet she could still say that. For a moment of stability. When Yi Er heard this, his expression changed drastically. He swallowed hard as if something was stuck in his throat. Was Unwu crazy? If Jiang Zhao could tolerate it just now, it could be said that he cared about his reputation. Now that he couldn't tolerate it, it could also be said that he cared about his reputation. Facing the phone, he forcefully suppressed his agitated emotions and said calmly, "Shi Unwu, just take care of yourself. Seducing a married woman isn't something that a child like you should learn." With that, he hung up the phone. He didn't have the leisure to argue with this lovesick brat. The key was that Yi Er was here, so he couldn't lose his composure in front of Yi Er. She was getting better at controlling him. When she said that he was jealous, she was already provoking him. He couldn't give her another chance. Jiang Zhao continued to eat despite his internal injuries. When Yi Er saw Jiang Zhao's reaction, she didn't know whether to feel relieved or disappointed. She was relieved that he didn't bite her like last time, but disappointed that he didn't bite her. Unwu said those words. Jiang didn't bite her. Unwu had said that. He didn't even when he said it. Was she asking for it? Yi Er buried her head and continued eating. Jiang Zhao also didn't say anything. When they were done eating, Jiang Zhao's mouth twitched. He wiped his mouth elegantly and said, "Yi Er, I'll say it again. You have to be mindful of your status. No matter who or what you did to get close to me and plan to marry me, you have to remember that you are now Mrs. Jiang. You are not an unmarried woman. You have to know who you should reject and who you should stay away from. Don't make me remind you every time. Otherwise, when you are involved in scandals, I will be implicated. You should know that if I am no longer the mayor, your father's matter will not be settled. You better hope that I can stay as the mayor for a longer period of time, right?" Yi Er nodded and said, "I will take note of that." Looking at Yi Er's despondent look, Jiang Zhao became even more impatient. However, he no longer warned himself not to get angry, or else he would look bad. "Also, I've arranged for someone to help you look for the address of the dance studio. If you want to do a good job, you should put in some effort. Whether you can do a good job or not is one thing, but what kind of attitude you should have when doing things is another thing. Don't do your job in such a dejected manner. Get rid of all the teenage girl dreams in your heart and focus on your career. If you're in a hurry, the results won't be too bad." Yi Er raised her head and looked at Jiang Zhao. Did he just ask her to get rid of all her dreams of being a teenage girl? Focus on her career. Although her heart was aching, she had to admit that Jiang Zhao's way of talking was very effective on her. He did not put too much pressure on her, but he also set a rule for her. He found someone to help her. If her attitude was positive, it would naturally be twice the result with half the effort. But his last sentence was that it would not be bad. He did not say anything heroic. It was not exaggerated, and it was not hopeless. Because his request was so simple. It would be fine as long as it was not bad. Thinking of this, Yi Er's heart relaxed. Okay. I will do my best. You can't fall behind in school. You haven't been to school for so long. Liberal arts are easy, but science is rusty. In the future, don't think about going out at night when you come home. I will tutor you. Jiang Zhao felt that if he tried to interfere in other things, it would seem like he cared too much about her. But he could directly lock up all her time without her knowing. In the future, she could not go anywhere except home, school, and dance studio. He would not force her not to go, but he would not give her the time to go. Yi Er laughed dryly. No need. I can handle it. Besides, when did she go out to play? She was already very restrained. You want me to ask for help if I don't do well? How is that possible? Then take it that I was worried for nothing. Okay. If you are home at night, you can tutor me. She did not want to run around when he was home. Okay. I will go to the building after my afternoon nap. Jiang Zhao raised his eyebrows slightly. After Jiang Zhao left in the afternoon, Yi Er thought about it. She was going to be a boss, so she had to tell her friends about this joyous news. The main reason was that she was so excited that she could not help but want to shout. Also, since Jiang Zhao dared to let her open it, he was naturally not afraid of being talked about, right? After thinking about it for a long time, she thought that she should share it with Xiaoya, Xia Qian, and Jingling. In fact, Yi Er was too concerned about Jiang Zhao's future. In addition, she was still too young. That was why she was thinking about these problems. With Jiang Zhao's family background, even if his wife opened a 5-star hotel, he wouldn't be afraid of people investigating. He could just do some procedures and get Qin Zhen, Qin Rongfang, and the others to give shares or assets to him. It would have been better if Yi Er did not make this call. The first person to make the call was actually Xiaoya. When Xiaoya found out that Yi Er was going to open a dance studio, she praised her. Yi Er, if you ask me, I think you did a smart job. What do you mean? In the past, when I asked you to come to my place to be a model, you refused to earn the money. When I thought about how Jiang Zhao did not agree, there was nothing you could do. But now that you have thought it through, I am happy for you. Thank you, Sister Xiaoya. I am quite happy. It's just that I don't have much experience in business. It's just a hobby. Don't talk about hobbies. We need to think about how to earn more money. Men are unreliable. If you can earn money, that is better than anything else. Yi Er laughed along. Sister Xiaoya's words always make sense. Of course, when your husband has a mistress, you will know that with money, there is nothing to be afraid of. Even if he has 10 mistresses, it has nothing to do with you. F***ck. Qiu Xiaoya. Damn you. Yi Er could not help but scold Xiaoya. She was too anxious. Because she was young, she had always been polite in front of Xiaoya. However, this woman often jinxed things. What she minded the most was that Jiang Zhao had a mistress outside, divorce, and so on. This woman just had to mention it all the time. Oh, mayor's wife, it's not nice to hear these words. Xiaoya pretended to be angry and then laughed like a bell in the wind. Qiu Xiaoya, don't get married if you dare. Fine. I will not get married. Xiaoya sat on the desk with her legs hooked together, swaying back and forth. She tilted her head and held her phone while playing with her fingers. What's so good about marriage? All you need to do is to take care of yourself. Why do you still have to care about your husband after getting married? Aren't you looking for trouble? When you give birth, your body will be out of shape. When you have to take care of your family, your mother-in-law will find trouble with you. You still have to learn to tolerate. Anyway, it's fine if you marry well. But if you don't marry well, you are just looking for trouble. Also, men are all ingrates. After you serve him well, he will turn around and sneak out to take advantage of you. Fine, fine. Stop talking. My good mood is ruined because of you. Yi Er felt that Xiaoya had always been like this. What she said sounded like a joke, but when she said it out loud, it was so painful. But she could not say that she was wrong. After all, she had been through a lot. But she was not as open-minded as her. You can open one in the south. Don't be picky about the location. The building opposite us has 2 floors. It used to be a high-end women's clothing store. But I squeezed it out. The height of each floor is not bad, and there are not many partitions. It is spacious, and you don't need to spend too much effort to tear it down. Xiaoya's tone was very arrogant, especially when she mentioned the high-end women's clothing store opposite her was squeezed out by her. South. No, she did not ask Xiaoya where she wanted to open the store. Yes, the rich district in the south. There are many second and third generation rich people in the rich district. There are also many rich women. In short, there is only one word, rich. What does rich represent? It represents spending power. It represents spending power that does not even blink an eye. When Xiaoya straightened her head, she held her phone in her right hand. Her left hand reached for her glass of water on the table and took a big gulp. In an air-conditioned room, she had to drink a lot of water every day. I also signed up for an Indian dance class. But I feel that many people who learn dance are similar to me. When they are bored, they will train their bodies or lose weight. If you are a professional teacher who teaches children how to dance, it will be too simple. And in that case, you will have to hire a very famous dance teacher to be famous. Only then will you be able to afford the price. In this way, your cost will be higher. No matter how rich your husband is, he can't throw his money into the water for fun, right? Yi Er did not know how to do business. If she did, she would not have closed down her father's company. She had not really started to implement it, but when she heard Xiaoya say these things, she became more interested. There are so many ways to do it. Of course. Businesses are all interconnected. Ordinary dancing and fitness places are not expensive. You can't do business with ordinary people. You have to do business with rich people. Rich people are very calculative and can be ignored. Many rich people do not care about how much money they spend. What they care about is that the money is spent. They want to feel comfortable, and they want to feel comfortable from the bottom of their hearts. So you have to do service. Also, there is an advantage to opening opposite me. My clients are all rich people. When you first open, I can help you get some VIP experience cards. At the very least, you will have a stable source of customers in the beginning. Yi Er was stunned again. She did not want to do business with rich madams all of a sudden. Why did it seem like this direction was out of her control? If she was doing this for money, was there any meaning? Just as she thought this, Xiaoya's voice came again with a hint of surprise. Yun Yi. Don't tell me that you're not doing this for money, but for your hobby. Yi Er softly grunted like a mosquito. She felt that Xiaoya definitely could not hear her. Actually, she did not have any confidence at all. She actually liked money too. Yun Yi, are you having a fever? A hobby. Do you know how many artists are out there trying to make money? Don't think that you're not doing it for money just because you're on stage. Let me tell you, it's still the same. Why don't you close the door, install a mirror at home, and dance for yourself? Let yourself be intoxicated. What? I just want to be acknowledged by others. Yi Er felt that she was actually quite vain. When she was young, she wanted to be a dancer who was the center of attention. Xiaoya nonchalantly grunted. Don't be so pretentious. When your dance studio becomes famous and some TV station wants to do a competition program, get your Jiang Zhao to casually contact someone and get someone from your studio to be a backup dancer. When the curtain call comes, just sign your name and show your face. Once you have the title of a mentor, once your name is out, it will be easy for you to get into some association. In a few years, when you're slightly older, you can find an opportunity to ask your husband to contact someone to let you be a judge. Then you will become popular. When you're famous and rich, people will recognize you. Yi Er was speechless for a long time. Are you talking about your own struggles? Xiao Yi chuckled. That's right. That's how my man helped me become famous. However, he spent more money, so I became famous faster. Whether or not you can get the recognition of others depends on how much money your husband is willing to pay for you, her man. Xiao Yi was speechless for a moment. She couldn't help but regret replacing Zhuang Yichen's name with my man. After saying this, she pouted and didn't want to say anything else. My husband isn't as rich as your man. How much does he earn a month? How can he compare with your man? Yun Yi, go to hell. Don't cry poor in front of me. How can your husband not have money to live in 9th mansion? Why are you pretending in front of me? I'm really not pretending. But I have to discuss with Jiang Xiao tonight about what you said. What's there to discuss? If you want the shop opposite mine, I can help you contact him. The location is so good. Don't miss this opportunity. Okay. I'll contact you tonight. Yi Er had just hung up when the door to the ward was pushed open. Yi Er turned around and was shocked to see the man standing at the door. Sir, who are you looking for? Sorry, I came to the wrong room. After the man closed the door, he took out his phone and compared the information and photos in the photo album. He snorted softly. Yun Yi. He stopped outside Ching Su's door and looked at the door number. His cold eyes narrowed slightly. Lu Ching Su. Come and take a look, Hongcha 866. Chapter 608. As usual, the man knocked twice, just like how he pushed open Yi Er's door. He pushed the door open and entered. Ching Su was a wild child. Even after entering a wealthy family, she did not deliberately restrict her behavior. When she was young, she lived with her mother and slept with her every day. It was fine even if she took off her clothes in front of her mother. She never felt any pressure. After returning to family Min, she was not used to it. She always went back to her own room to change clothes. After all, there was a man at home. She was also not used to staying in a hotel or a private room. She had to go to the bathroom to change clothes. She treated this ward as a private space. There was nothing wrong with changing clothes in her own room. Moreover, the attending doctor would only come for his rounds at 4 p.m. The nurses were all women. There were no men even among the cleaners. For a moment, she forgot to lock the door. The young woman's body was still young and developing. It was full and lively. When she heard someone knocking on the door, she quickly covered her bare chest and was about to say, "Wait a minute." But at this moment, the door was pushed open. She thought that it did not matter since they were all women. She was just a little embarrassed. However, when she turned around and saw a tall man standing at the door, Ching Su's expression changed drastically. The next second, she screamed, "Sister Yi Er! Save me! There's a pervert!" The man did not even have time to say, "Wrong room." He was shocked by Ching Su's naked body. She was standing in front of the full-length mirror. She was wearing an orange underwear that covered her chest. Although she was still a child, the curve of her back and waist was extremely attractive. He did not expect to see a naked woman when he came in instead of a patient. Light cotton had been operated on her rib cage and sutured. Although there were no stitches on the inside, it was still a little uneven. He did not dare to breathe too hard. When he screamed, his lungs hurt, and the sound of his scream sounded particularly painful. It was not that she wanted to panic in the face of danger. This was much more annoying than a car accident. She had never been seen by a man before. Yi Er heard Ching Su scream that there was a pervert. She threw away the phone in her hand and grabbed the glass vase with the lilies in it. She opened the door and rushed over. The man's back happened to be at the door. She looked at his clothes and saw his liver yellow leather jacket. Wasn't he the one who entered her room by mistake? He actually entered Ching Su's room. Great! He was actually a pervert. This was a private hospital. Was she afraid? The man could only blame Ching Su for clutching her chest and squeezing her breasts as if they were about to burst out, causing him to lose focus for a moment. When he realized that Ching Su was shouting pervert, he realized the danger he was in and wanted to go in and cover her mouth. Who would have thought that an Oriole would appear behind him, and it was the Oriole that was holding a large vase filled with flowers and water. Yi held the vase and spilled some of the water. The room next door was just a few steps away. The man's reaction was also fast. The smell of lilies, the sound of other people's footsteps, the sense of smell, hearing, and vision were all trained in their line of work. He could quickly sense the danger around him and prepared to turn and leave first, but Yi Er's vase had already been raised behind his head. He raised his hand to block and pushed the woman away. Unexpectedly, Yi Er did not smash the vase. Instead, she kicked the man's crotch. The man realized that Yi Er was going to kick his important part. He immediately prepared to catch Yi Er's kick. Yi Er had practiced dancing before, so her body was very agile. Sometimes, the stage reaction was very good in a battle of wits and courage. She quickly retracted her foot and moved her body to the side. The vase still did not shake. At this time, she smashed the vase with force. Bang! The glass vase was too thick and did not break. The water from the lilies turned into perfume and splashed all over the man's body. Blood flowed all over his head. Ching Su, who was sitting inside, had taken off all her clothes. When she saw Yi Er coming, she did not care about the pain in her chest. She quickly grabbed a shirt and put it on. After Yi Er went through the experience of chasing after robbers barefoot and being kidnapped by them, she realized that her brain was getting better and better. At the very least, she was smarter than before when it came to using her skills and reactions. She knew how to create a diversion. The man's gaze began to change from cold-blooded to fierce. Just as he was about to raise his leg to kick Yi Er, Ching Su, who was behind him, grabbed the high-end gaming computer that she had just thrown on the bed. She picked it up and was about to smash it at the back of the man's head. However, the man's profession was not a prostitute. He heard the sound behind him clearly. How could he not be on guard? How could he not be able to control two women? He turned around and strode over, wanting to grab Ching Su. Women were easy to control, but two women who had gone through trials and tribulations together were not so easy to control. Yi Er felt that if she let the man hurt Ching Su at this time, she would be too cowardly as the older sister. Moreover, her life was saved by Ching Su. If she became a coward now, she would be ungrateful. The bathroom door was open. Yi Er happened to be standing at the door. Ching Su must have just taken a shower. Her dirty clothes were still piled on the sink. Other than the thin cotton hospital gown, there was only her underwear. The man had already grabbed Ching Su's neck. Yi Er panicked and could not find a weapon. She pressed the emergency call button that could be seen everywhere in the room. She quickly grabbed one of the underwear that Ching Su had worn and pulled it open. She was tall, so her hand reached over the man's head. At this time, the man only cared about the petite Ching Su. He thought that Yi Er wanted to make a move on him. Since he had been discovered, he might as well kill one of them first. However, he did not expect that he would put on another hat. Although Yi Er's hand was grabbed by the man before she put on the underwear, she did not panic at all. She mocked, "If you put a woman's underwear on your head, you'll be unlucky for the rest of your life. Unlucky, unlucky to death. Ha! You'll lose every bet you make. You'll crash every time you see a car. You'll lose everything you encounter. You'll fall sick whenever you get sick. Yi grumbled as she watched the man choking Qing Su's neck with one hand and grabbing her wrist with the other. Yi wanted to hit him, but he quickly grabbed her hand to catch her other hand. In the end, both of her wrists were caught by him. Yi wanted to hit him, but he reacted quickly and grabbed her hand to catch her other hand. Yi realized that the strength of her hand had increased again. Could it be that she was angered? He was still very focused. She could not take advantage of him at all. If she moved, he would turn around and twist her joints. Qing Su gritted her teeth. Her throat was so tight that she could not speak. However, she did not forget to squeeze out some words with difficulty. Sister Yi, how could you do this? There must be dandruff on his head. He's wearing a hat. He must not have washed his hair for many days. It must be stinky. That's my favorite pair of underwear. There's a pig's tail on the butt. Sister Yi, I hate you. Go and buy the same pair and return them to me. Yi was frustrated for a moment. Surnamed Liu, sister will buy a car full of underwear for you. F***ck. The man was furious. It really was an underwear. His fiery eyes glared at Yi as if he wanted to eat her up. Damned woman. You're courting death. He had already grabbed Yi's arm, but he immediately reached out to pull the underwear on his head. Yi took the chance. She loosened her grip and scattered her energy. She lifted her leg and kicked the man's groin. Go to hell. Let's see who's courting death. Yi watched as the man covered his crotch with both hands. He let go of Qing Su and quickly moved to Qing Su's side to support her. Then, she took 2 steps back. This move was actually very difficult to succeed. In the past, she had tried to use her elbow to hit Jiang Zhao's groin, but she had not succeeded. This was because men were most protective of that area. Just now, she had hit her head, but his groin was not easy to attack. But now, a woman's underwear had messed up the man's mind. The man was kicked so hard that he broke out in a cold sweat from the pain. He used his hands to protect the treasury that contained his descendants, and his whole body bent down. Yi gritted her teeth and used all her strength. This guy was probably going to be impotent in the future. Yi was anxious. Why were the nurses and doctors not here yet? Although there were only 6 rooms on this floor, there was an office for nurses on duty on each floor. Usually, when the bell rang, they would arrive within half a minute. But now, there was not even a nurse. It was too strange. Even when she and Qing Su had kicked the pervert to the ground, the nurses did not appear. Qing Su felt a terrible pain in her chest. Yi knelt on the ground and held Qing Su's body, who had fallen to the ground from the pain. She shouted, "Nurse! Nurse!" Only then did the man realize that he had underestimated the enemy. He had only wanted to confirm if the 2B* cheese were here. It would be more convenient for him to take action. There was a cold and hard gun strapped to his waist. He should have taken it out and killed these 2 damned women. Who would have thought that these 2 little girls, who looked so delicate and tender, would be so unconventional when they started shouting? The pain in his crotch was unbearable. Just as he was about to take out the gun, he heard a ding from the elevator in the distance. Enduring the pain, he stood up straight and ran out of the door. Yi did not have time to care about anything else. Qing Su was in so much pain that her face was pale. The nurse was still not here, and he did not dare to leave Qing Su. Yi could only watch as the man who had caused Qing Su to fall ran away. She held Qing Su and shouted anxiously, "Someone! Someone, come!" Jiang Liqing wanted to come early to talk to Yi about the mission his father-in-law had assigned him. If he waited until Jiang Zhao got off work, wouldn't it be troublesome? At that time, he would have to consider his son's feelings and his daughter-in-law's feelings at the same time. As an elder, he would become a sandwiched biscuit. However, as soon as he stepped out of the elevator, he heard Yi Er's sobbing scream. Although he was old, his steps were steady and vigorous. Yi Er's voice clearly did not come from his own ward. When Jiang Liqing stood at the door of Qing Su's ward, he was instantly dumbfounded. There were bloodstains on the ground, and the water stains had formed a large, frightening puddle. There was a large pile of damaged flowers, and it was frightening to look at. "Dad, Dad, call the doctor. Call the doctor." Qing Su was in pain, but she did not scream. Her face was pale as she endured the pain. She was sweating profusely, and her teeth were chattering. She squeezed out the words from between her teeth and said, "I am fine. I'll be fine after lying down for a while." As soon as Jiang Liqing entered the room, he pressed the call button at the door. Yi Er shook his head and said anxiously, "Dad, it's no use. I pressed the button just now. Come here. No one has come for a long time. The murderer has run away, and no one has come." After Yi Er finished speaking, he did not dare to help Qing Su rub her chest and ribs. He was afraid that he would touch something he should not touch. Jiang Liqing shouted angrily, "Wait, I'll be right back." This was simply lawless. What did Yi Er say just now? Murderer. These two girls met the murderer again. This was a private hospital. The security was top-notch. Ad. Hongcha 866. Chapter 609. However, when Jiang Liqing arrived at the nurse's on-call room, he immediately understood what had happened. The nurses and workers were all sleeping like pigs. It was obvious that they had been drugged. He called the hospital director. When the call connected, he raised his voice and shouted, "What the hell? Tell me, what kind of bullshit*T private hospital is this? Hurry up and transfer the doctors and nurses here. Also, get me the surveillance footage from that day. Don't talk about *********. I don't understand. If you continue to use those things to brush me off, I'll get someone to close down your hospital just because of what happened just now." The hospital director was almost 60 years old. At first, he was a little disgusted by Jiang Liqing's attitude of using his power to oppress others. However, when he heard the latter part, he felt that something was wrong. What happened just now? What happened just now? Weren't there doctors and nurses in the inpatient building? There were nurses on every floor. Even if he wanted to call the attending doctor, he didn't have to call the hospital director. He could just call the nurses directly. What on earth happened? When Qing Su was sent to the emergency room for a checkup, Yi Er told Jiang Liqing what had happened in the afternoon. The old hospital director was also standing to the side. When Jiang Liqing heard what Yi Er said, he turned to glare at the old hospital director. After Yi Er finished speaking, Jiang Liqing looked at the old hospital director and started his argument. "What did I say? I said that your hospital isn't safe, right? Do you want me to spread the news for you? You can see which is more important, your privacy or your safety. Both are important." The old hospital director sighed. "But safety is the most important thing right now." Yun Hongwei didn't know that something had happened to Yi Er. When he brought Si Jia to the hospital to see Yi Er, the door happened to be open. A few people were standing at the door and saw Jiang Zhao talking sternly. "I don't care. I don't want the surveillance footage on this floor. I want the footage of all the possible places that the suspect might have passed through." This private hospital did not have an ordinary background. To be able to open such a high-end hospital, the people who lived in this hospital were naturally very capable. Moreover, the people who lived in this hospital were either rich or respectable. Some people even kept their illnesses a secret from the outside world. Once the secret of others was leaked, it would be no small matter. Yun Hongwei pulled Si Jia over to Yi Er. Jiang Liqing was also standing there, his face ashen. After greeting his in-laws, he asked, "What's going on?" "This is not a small matter. Jiang Zhao is worried that the people who are planning to commit murder today are related to the people that Yi Er kidnapped last time." Yun Hongwei's heart skipped a beat. "Yi Er, is someone trying to harm you again?" Si Jia was young but smart. He understood the meaning behind the adult's words. He hugged Yi Er's waist and asked anxiously, "Yun Yi, what did you do this time?" Yi Er placed her hand on Si Jia's back and shook her head to comfort him. "Sister is fine, she's fine. Don't worry." The hospital director sighed helplessly and said, "Jiang Zhao, it's not that I don't want to give it to you, but you have to consider our hospital's difficulties. Once news gets out that the hospital released the surveillance footage, how will the hospital receive other high-end patients in the future?" Jiang Zhao had lost all patience. If this was the deputy hospital director who did not have any relationship with his family, he would have punched him. This guy was taking advantage of his seniority. He was putting on airs just because he was on good terms with his father and grandfather. Did he really think that he was afraid of him? He waved his hand and said, "All right, let's not talk about this anymore. Regarding the medical incident a few days ago, I was thinking that you were close to my father and grandfather. Moreover, since Yi Er has woken up, I didn't want to cause any more trouble. But there's no need for that anymore. I want to file a lawsuit for this medical incident. I can broadcast the entire process live. I don't care anymore. If you want to file a lawsuit, you have to hand over those tapes. If you insist on making things difficult for everyone, then just don't care about your reputation anymore." Jiang Liqing was stunned. Broadcast the entire process live. Wasn't this going a little too far? The hospital director was stunned. "Jiang Zhao, this matter, let's not talk about this anymore. My wife was in shock today, so let her rest early. I don't want to argue about other matters. I will get someone to prepare the documents immediately. I took photos of those bags of medicine that day. No matter what, I will start by blaming the hospital for this medical incident. There will always be a way to get what I want. Moreover..." Jiang Zhao suddenly paused. His handsome face suddenly darkened as he looked straight at the elderly hospital director. His impatient expression was replaced with scrutiny, coercion, and doubt. "I don't understand the hospital's actions. These 2 days, things have happened one after another. I can't do anything else. The day before yesterday, my wife woke up because she was given the wrong medicine. Even if you don't want to show me the surveillance footage, what about you? Don't you care about the responsibility of a nurse? What is that nurse doing? Where is she now? It's been 3 days since the incident happened, and you don't even have someone to apologize to me. Friendship is friendship, but there should be procedures, right? Or could it be that your internal staff has seen the surveillance footage and there are some unspeakable secrets that you don't want us to know about?" Jiang Zhao's tone was extremely unpleasant. He didn't sound like he was talking to an elder who had a close relationship with his family. It was a habit for Jiang Liqing to be fierce with the hospital director. It was normal for them to be of the same generation. As they were very familiar with each other, Jiang Liqing and Qin Rongfang didn't take the apology to heart. The main reason was that Yi Er had profited from her misfortune. For the past 2 days, everyone's attention had been focused on whether she felt any discomfort after she woke up with the wrong medicine. When someone who had been in a coma for a long time suddenly woke up, it was always better to be happy than sad. Even if Jiang Zhao had asked someone to investigate, his current thoughts were basically on Yi Er's health. He didn't have the energy to care about other things. But after what happened this afternoon, he really couldn't let his guard down. We. The hospital director was so agitated by Jiang Zhao that she swallowed her saliva and rolled her eyes. The sound of high heels could be heard in the corridor. Every step she took was very pretentious. Before she reached Yi Er's ward, she straightened her back, tucked her hair behind her ear, lifted her chin, and walked towards Yi Er's room. When she saw that the door was open and there were a few people standing inside, including Yi Er, she smiled and held her bag like a rich lady. "Yo, why are there so many people today?" When he heard the sudden laughter, Jiang Zhao's expression darkened. He turned to look at the door and saw that the person was his mother-in-law. "Mom, you're here." Jiang Liqing also greeted her. "The in-laws are here." His tone was a little stiff. Jiang Liqing was a soldier and had a clear distinction between love and hate. Although Yi Er married Jiang Zhao because of her status, he more or less felt that she wasn't worthy of him. But since she had the husband's surname, then the Jiang family should treat her better. He more or less knew about Yun Hongwei's situation. Although he rejected him at first, Yun Hongwei was a man who started his business from scratch and had his own way of doing things. He treated people well and wasn't a narrow-minded person. When he interacted with people, he knew what to say. He knew that Yun Hongwei was a straightforward person, so he always listened more than he spoke. He appeared to be very cultured and his replies were concise and to the point, neither servile nor overbearing. He could be considered to have admired him. He really didn't have a good impression of Yi Er's biological mother. The number of times Yi Er was hospitalized after being injured was less than the number of times her in-laws came to visit her. She was gorgeously dressed all day long. Although she looked very young at 40 years old, her fingernails were painted as if they were dyed with blood. What was this? But in-laws were in-laws, so he still had to show them some superficial respect. Yi Er called out, "Mom." Si Jia threw himself into Zhou Li's arms. "Mom, you're finally willing to come. Did you miss sister?" In Si Jia's heart, he had always hoped that Zhou Li would come to visit Yi Er. He was very sensitive and would always catch the eye contact between the adults. Yun Hongwei curved his lips. "Shaoli, you're here." Zhou Li greeted everyone warmly. "You're all here today. Yi Er is also awake. Let's have a meal together." Yun Hongwei's expression stiffened. He really didn't know how Zhou Li could speak in such a manner. This was the first time she had seen Yi Er since he woke up. Shouldn't she ask some personal questions? He had always known that Zhou Li was very dissatisfied with Yi Er's birth and had never paid attention to it. He didn't expect her to be so cold. Jiang Zhao thought that this was a family matter. It was too inconvenient to talk with the dean here. He didn't want to say anything unhappy and make others laugh. So, he sent the dean away first and told him some things that needed to be negotiated later. When he came back, Zhou Li was talking to Jiang Liqing casually. "Commander Jiang, why are you here? It's so good to be a commander. Jiang Zhao also benefited from you. As the mayor, he also got off work early." After saying that, she laughed a few times. She seemed very generous. Yun Hongwei breathed out some air through his nose and then inhaled deeply. It was really not suitable for him to talk to Zhou Li here. He was very uncomfortable and his heart was a little uncomfortable. Si Jia was still nestled in Zhou Li's arms. Yi Er saw clearly that his younger brother liked his mother very much. Jiang Zhao pretended not to see it. He came from behind Zhou Li and said softly, "Mom, please move aside." Zhou Li gently moved aside. Jiang Zhao was tall. When he walked past, he was expressionless. He was like a mountain. Zhou Li felt a burst of pressure. Zhou Li's words just now naturally drilled into Jiang Zhao's ears without missing a single word, making him feel uncomfortable all over as if he had been stabbed. If his father didn't come early today, would Yi Er still be standing here in one piece? If his father didn't tell him that Yi Er had an accident, would he go to the hospital before it was time to get off work? But now, he didn't ask Yi Er a word and cared about other people. He held Yi Er's elbow and said, "The doctor said that you just woke up 2 days ago and hit your head yesterday. You need to rest more and don't cause trouble. Why didn't you listen?" These words seemed to be deliberately said to Jolie. Yi Er heard it and said, "No, I didn't cause trouble. If I didn't go today, Ching Su would be finished." "Yes, yes, yes. You are righteous. You should go. Is that okay? I didn't say that you did anything wrong. It's just that the next time you encounter danger, don't you know to call me first before going?" Jiang Zhao was blaming him, but his tone was very gentle. He forced Yi Er to sit on the bed. Yi Er sat down and looked at Jiang Zhao. He pursed his lips slightly and complained that Jiang Zhao was blaming him. "I didn't think so much at that time. Ching Su was screaming for help. You were screaming for help too. Would I still have time to call you? I was so anxious at that time." In this room, even Si Jia could tell that Jiang Zhao didn't like Jolie. Jolie naturally felt it too. She quickly pulled Si Jia to Yi Er's side and asked, "Yi Er, did you encounter danger today?" Yi Er tilted his head and looked up at Jolie. He was a little touched and said, "Yeah." A pervert barged into Ching Su's room next door. "You know Ching Su, right? The girl that family Min brought back a few years ago." Awesome novel, Songshu 566. Chapter 610. "Oh, that girl. She's rebellious and unruly. She's just a wild girl. No one likes her," Jolie said with a hint of contempt. Yi Er actually felt uncomfortable when she heard those words. She thought that if it were anyone else, even if they were her best friends, they would feel conflicted when their parents reprimanded them, let alone their savior. However, she still smiled and said, "Mom, I used to be a wild girl too." "That's right. I'm curious. Why were you so wild in the past? You didn't act like a lady from a wealthy family at all. It's all because your father spoiled you. Other daughters from wealthy families are very dignified. You didn't have the temperament and cultivation of a daughter from a wealthy family at that time. Now that you've been through some hardships, you're more sensible than before." Yi Er's body trembled violently. Jiang Liqing had obviously noticed that Jiang Zhao, who had already straightened his back and looked at Jolie, had a hint of anger in his eyes. This anger was naturally unavoidable. No matter how dissatisfied he was with his son, he still had to praise him in front of others. How could he criticize his daughter in front of her father-in-law like this? If her in-laws were not good, wouldn't it become her daughter's weakness? Afraid that the smell of gunpowder would grow stronger, and even more afraid that Jiang Zhao would suffer internal injuries from holding it in, Jiang Liqing mediated. He walked over and took Si Jia's hand. Along the way, he brought Si Jia to his side. Although he was old, his physique was still strong. In order to close the distance, he pulled over an open foldable chair by the bedside table and sat down. With a rare look of affection, he said, "Si Jia, have you been happy at school recently?" "Not bad. I heard that sister's health is not good, so I'm just a little worried." Si Jia had a high EQ. In front of the elders of the Jiang and Qin families, he always knew how to act obedient. Si Jia is really a good child. Jiang Liqing patted Si Jia's shoulder. He did not treat him like a child and pat his head. Si Jia especially liked being treated like a man. His impression of Jiang Liqing improved. "Of course, I'm so obedient. Does that mean I don't need to go to boarding school?" When Jolie heard this, she walked over and squatted beside Si Jia. "Darling, don't you want to go to boarding school? How about you and Mom? You and Mama won't let you go to boarding school, okay?" When Yi Er heard this, he suddenly turned to look at Yun Hongwei. As expected, he saw his father's face turn pale. Yi Er jumped up and went to support Yun Hongwei, who was still in a daze. She mocked Zhou Li loudly, "Mom. You can go now. Don't come again. Don't appear in our lives again, please. Go and live your life of luxury, okay?" Jiang Zhao looked at Yi Er's agitated state. Without another word, he forcefully pulled Zhou Li, who was squatting on the floor, up. He didn't care if they were elders or juniors. He dragged and carried Zhou Li out of the room. When Jiang Liqing saw Yun Hongwei's reaction, he hurriedly pressed the button to call for help. This family was really worrisome. Not even for a single day. He couldn't help but complain in his heart. Jiang Zhao pulled Zhou Li to the corridor and said coldly, "Mom, why are you still here?" After questioning her, he sneered coldly, "People say that people live for their faces, and trees live for their bark. You've been persistently provoking father-in-law and Yi Er time and time again. What's your motive? I suspect that you're not here to ask for custody. You're just afraid that father-in-law won't die from anger and that Yi Er's heart won't be hurt enough, right?" Zhou Li bit her lip and suddenly looked pitiful. When she looked at Jiang Zhao, her eyes were already watery. "Jiang Zhao, please help me. I only want Si Jia. As long as Si Jia is with me, I promise. I promise you that I will do what Yi Er said and never appear in front of them again." Jiang Zhao found it extremely laughable. "Who do you think them that Yi Er is talking about are? It's Si Jia, Yi Er, and Yun Hongwei." He paused and said firmly, "Let's go to court." Jiang Zhao, we really can't go to court. If we go to court, it's all over. Towards the end, Zhou Li's voice was like a weak worm's moan. It was hard to hear clearly. She seemed to be saying repeatedly, "It's all over. It's all over." Jiang Zhao didn't care whether Zhou Li was all over or not. He only hoped that Zhou Li wouldn't disturb his small family's peaceful life. He and Yi Er needed a quiet environment to spend time together. He didn't like life to become too exciting. He liked his family to be stable, peaceful, and harmonious. He wanted his family to be together even after they grew old. He didn't want anything to hinder this outcome. "Mom, that's enough. When a mother should be doing her duty, you ran away. There's no more chance." "Really? Jiang Zhao, it's not like that." Zhou Li held on to Jiang Zhao. The nurse had already entered the ward. Zhou Li dragged Jiang Zhao to the other end of the corridor. Jiang Zhao said coldly, "Mom, let me go. Mom, let go. I want to go in and see Yi Er and Dad." Zhou Li didn't let go. "Jiang Zhao, I want to tell you something. Just let me finish. Listen to me. Let's go over there and talk." Jiang Zhao saw that Zhou Li didn't seem to be lying. "Okay." At the smoking area at the end of the corridor, Zhou Li let go of Jiang Zhao's sleeve and lowered her head. Jiang Zhao straightened his sleeves and said, "Mom, go ahead." "Jiang Zhao, we can't go to court for this matter." Zhou Li didn't look up. She lowered her high heels. There was a circle of rhinestones around the edges of her shoes. It dazzled her eyes. Although she had never felt sorry for Yun Hongwei, it was still difficult to say it in front of her son-in-law. Jiang Zhao didn't say anything. He waited for Zhou Li to continue. "Jiang Zhao, Si Jia isn't Yun Hongwei's child. He can't win the lawsuit." Jiang Zhao was shocked when he heard this. To him, this was too shocking. Si Jia wasn't Yun Hongwei's biological son. How did this woman do it? How could she make Yun Hongwei raise someone else's son for nothing? He didn't respect Zhou Li to begin with. At this moment, he felt even more disgust. If Si Jia is willing, but what will Si Jia think when he finds out? How can he grow up healthily? This was the reason why Jolie refused to get Si Jia back for Yuan Shichang. Sigh. Jiang Zhao sighed softly. If she was worried about the child's physical and mental health, she wouldn't have done such a thing. His eyes became a little dull. A day as husband and wife means endless devotion. Father-in-law needs Si Jia now. Why do you have to force him like this? Don't you feel guilty at all? Guilty? I don't love him. I just feel sorry for Si Jia, Jolie said truthfully. Jiang Zhao frowned deeply and turned his face away. So it was okay to have a child with another man if you didn't love him? You didn't even feel guilty. Oh my God. Was his thinking too old-fashioned and couldn't keep up with the times? Or was it wrong for two people who didn't love each other to be together? Yi Er must be Yun Hongwei's biological child, right? So Jolie didn't even love Yi Er. What if Yi Er gave birth to his child in the future? Would she not love him either? Jiang Zhao ignored Jolie. He didn't hear Jolie call his name either. He just left in a daze. Slowly, step by step, it was as if his feet were shackled by thousands of pounds of iron shackles. It was said that like mother, like daughter. Would Yi Er not love his child in the future? How could Yun Hongwei not know that Jolie had a child with another man? He felt that this world was really scary. How could he not know that the woman he spent all his time with had an affair with another man? Jiang Zhao felt a headache. The coils in his head were tangled and pulled in a mess. It was as if his head was filled with something and was about to explode. Suddenly, it was emptied. He leaned against the wall and felt a little weak. He sat on the bench to rest. He rested his elbows on his knees and rubbed his face with his palms. The more he rubbed, the more chaotic the nerves in his head became. No. No. He couldn't continue thinking about it. Yi Er was different from Jolie. Yi Er was kinder than Jolie. She didn't abandon her younger brother when she was in dire straits. She did everything she could to get her father out of prison. She said that she wanted a family, a warm family. How could such a girl's character be bad? At least it showed that she had a strong sense of family and responsibility. How could a person with a strong sense of family and responsibility be like Jolie? A woman like Jolie didn't know what a sense of responsibility was. If she did, she wouldn't have abandoned Yi Er and Si Jia, right? So the saying, like mother, like daughter, did not exist. It didn't exist. Yi Er couldn't be as fickle as her mother. Ah Zhao. Jiang Zhao's divine sense was awakened by Yi Er's anxious voice. It was such an intimate form of address. Only she would call him like that. He let go of his hands and propped his forehead up with his palms. His eyes followed his head and he saw Yi Er running towards him with an uneasy expression on her face. Jiang Zhao stood up and caught the hand of the woman who had run to him. What's wrong? Ah Zhao, the doctor said that my father needs emergency treatment again. What should we do? Yi Er tried her best to hold back her tears and fear as she narrated to Jiang Zhao. Let's go and take a look. Jiang Zhao hugged Yi Er and hugged her shoulders. The two of them didn't look back at Jolie and quickly walked towards the other end of the corridor. Yun Yi, Dad will be fine. I believe you. Jiang Zhao's heart trembled for a moment. In the end, Jiang Liqing didn't say anything on this trip. It didn't matter. At most, if his father-in-law asked, he would just say that he had already spoken to him. Looking at him, it was obvious that he wouldn't come to confront him. Jiang Liqing felt that his thoughts at this moment were a little unworthy of his military uniform. A soldier should be upright and plain-spoken, but didn't the saying go? If the family was harmonious, everything would prosper. Now that the Yun family was in this state, he didn't want to add to the mess. Jiang Zhao had something on his mind. He wanted to go to the hospital director to get the surveillance footage, but Yi grabbed his hand tightly and refused to let go. He could only wait outside the emergency room with her. Jia sat next to Yi and patted Yi's leg like an adult. "It's okay, sister. Don't worry too much. Humans were like that. When you had someone to rely on, you could be weak. When you didn't, you were forced to be strong." When Jiang Zhao wasn't around, Yi would pat Jia's back and say to him in a firm voice, "Jia, it's okay. Don't worry. Sister has a way." But now, she would grab Jiang Zhao's hand tightly and squeeze it tightly. She would say to Jiang Zhao in a trembling voice, "Hubby, I'm scared. What should I do?" People who had someone to rely on would slowly become lazy because they could fulfill every request. They could stretch out their hands for clothes and open their mouth for food. They didn't have to look at other people's faces anymore. They didn't have to do everything by themselves anymore. If there was someone by your side and you told him that you were scared, he would say, "Don't be scared. I'm here." In the past, whenever Yi encountered setbacks, she would tell herself that she had to be strong. But when she was about to collapse from failure, she couldn't help but say angrily, "I don't want to be strong at all. I want to be weak. It's not good to be strong." A powerful novel, Songshu 566. Chapter 611. Now, she felt that it was not good to be strong. It was good to be weak. When you were weak, you could see that there was a strong man by your side who held up the sky for you. She did not believe that a marriage without love could not last long. Jiang Zhao could hold up the sky for her. As long as she had time, she would slowly draw Yi and white clouds in that sky and decorate it into a beautiful scenery. She needed time. When she had time, he would be there. Zhou returned to the south dejectedly. She did not want to return in defeat. She had already promised Yuan Shichang that she would do her best. She did not want Yuan Shichang to hurt Yi. As expected, Yuan Shichang flew into a rage after asking about it. His violent personality was rarely displayed in front of Zhou. To Yuan Shichang, it was a bolt from the blue that he did not have a successor. If his Jingzi had a higher survival rate, he would not have wasted this effort. As long as there was a woman, he would not be afraid that she could not give birth to his child. However, there was only one child out there. He raised his hand and was about to slap Zhou Li's face. Zhou Li looked up and said fiercely, "Hit. If you hit me, we'll break all ties." Yuan Shichang immediately restrained himself. "Shaoli, I didn't want to hit you. I'm just angry. It's useless. Let me tell you. Let's do artificial insemination." Yuan Shichang suddenly felt that his self-esteem had been violated. Artificial insemination. I have a son. Why do I have to do that? I won't do it. You. Zhou Li sat on the sofa and bounced. She crossed her arms and leaned back. You're unreasonable. Yuan Shichang said angrily, are you going to be like before, leaving after meeting me? When did I? Zhou Li stood up. I already told Jiang Zhao that Jia is not Yun Hongwei's son, but Jiang Zhao refused. What do you think I can do? You actually told him. Yuan Shichang was stunned. That's good. It's good that he knows. But even if he knows, he won't give it to me. Yeah, I already asked him to help me, but he said that a day as husband and wife means endless devotion for the rest of your life. He meant that I should not disturb Yi and the rest in the future. Zhou Li sighed helplessly and sat down again. She was a little anxious. After sitting for less than half a minute, she stood up again and went to get herself some water. Jiang Zhao is a scourge. How could Yun Yi find such a powerful backer? No, I have to get them to divorce. Once they're divorced, it'll be easy to snatch custody. Otherwise, it'll be really troublesome. Jolie was holding a cup of water to drink when she suddenly choked. Jean Chang. After shouting, she kept coughing until her face was red. Yuan Shichang walked over lazily and patted her back. Why are you so agitated? What I said was the truth. Jiang Zhao was in the middle. If he really helped Yunyi get custody, even if I was Si Jie's biological father, he would think of something. So how do you think we can snatch it? After all, I haven't fulfilled my responsibility as a father all these years. If Si Jie doesn't agree, it will be really difficult. But you can't let them get a divorce. Jolie stopped coughing and slammed the cup in her hand on the table. Yi finally has the life she has now. If she gets a divorce, she'll have nothing. She's not even 20 years old yet, and she's still studying. If she gets a divorce, how can she continue her studies? Where will she live? I'll give her a house, provide for her studies, and buy her a real estate. As for money, I'll give her more. What do you think? Jolie's brain suddenly short-circuited. She laughed and said in a way that she thought was kind. Sure, as long as she has a stable life in the future, anything is fine. I'm just worried that she'll have to suffer again. Qing Su had been sent back to her own ward. She wanted to tell Yi, but Min Hongxing would never allow her to get out of bed and walk around again. Even if she wanted to thank Yi, she would have to wait until she was better tomorrow. He felt that if Qing Su were to cause trouble again, the person in the emergency room wouldn't be Qing Su, but him. He was old and couldn't act like a young person. He couldn't afford to cause trouble. Qing Su lay in bed. She was really bored, so she took a pen and paper and started to draw on the table. She was thinking about the man in the afternoon. That disgusting man dressed like a vagrant singer. He was wearing a yellow leather jacket and a woolen hat that seemed to have been worn for a long time. The brim of the hat covered his eyebrows, but his eyes looked like a cold-blooded animal. They were cold and murderous. The beard on his face was strung together. Although it wasn't thick, it was still obvious. His nose was very high, and there was a hook at the tip. His nose looked like a foreigner's. His upper lip was slightly thicker than his lower lip. Chin, what did his chin look like? Qing Su was drawing in boredom. Min Hongxing wanted to urge her to rest, so he walked over and asked softly, Qing Su, what are you drawing? Qing Su supported her chin with her small hand and looked at the half-drawn face on the paper. She frowned and said, I'm bored, so I'm drawing. After Yun Hongwei was sent to the ward, Jiang Zhao forced Yi to go back to his room to sleep. Si Jie refused to go home alone, so Jiang Liqing brought him back to the villa where the commander of Xing Nan Road's army lived. Jiang Zhao and the old director had agreed that he would go to the monitoring room after he was done with the matter and get the staff to cooperate with him. The old director couldn't bear to wait and went home early to rest. When Jiang Zhao arrived at the monitoring room, it was almost 12 o'clock. Frames of images flashed by. According to Yi's description, the man's balaclava was pulled down very deeply, and he was wearing a yellow leather jacket. He actually had a work pass hanging on his chest. He swaggered into the hospital. Jiang Zhao asked, how many types of work passes are there? The technician answered truthfully, there are official jobs and temporary jobs. Temporary jobs. Yes. Jiang Zhao said, haven't temporary jobs been abolished by the labor law? The technician didn't know how to flatter people. He was an honest technician, so he was always the one working overtime and the one getting promoted was always someone else. But aren't the positions in the government also divided into internal and external staff? Isn't it just a formal job and a temporary job? In other words, it's just a legal violation of the labor law. Jiang Zhao was a person who had a status to back him up wherever he went. No matter who it was, they would always give him some face. Even if the old director here didn't want to show him the surveillance footage, he would still be polite. But in the end, as long as his attitude was firm, he wouldn't be able to change his mind. This young man looked like a hothead. He actually dared to say something like that. That's also different. How could Jiang Zhao admit that the difference between internal and external staff was the same as that between official and temporary jobs? Different? What's the difference? The fundamental difference between official and temporary workers is the difference in treatment. Both internal and external staff are also treated differently. Academic results are calculated based on grades and rankings, while work results are calculated based on salary. Jiang Zhao asked again. What about that image? Is this man's work pass official or temporary? The technician zoomed in on the screen, but the image was not clear. I can't see clearly. The biggest difference between official and temporary is that one has blue font, and the other has green font. The work pass is covered with a plastic cover, and it's a little reflective. I can't see the color clearly. Jiang Zhao rubbed his chin and asked, where did he get this work pass? If he is a criminal, he might have stolen it, robbed it, or found a fake ID from a telephone pole and spent 20 renminbi to get it. Jiang Zhao looked at the image and zoomed in slowly. When the work pass started to shake, the technician paused and zoomed in. After listening to the technician's serious reply, he felt that this person was suitable to be a technician. He was not tactful and would say whatever he wanted to say. Just because he was the mayor, he did not try to flatter him. He was a good technician. Have you ever thought of changing your job? If there is a job with better pay and more stability, I will change. Jiang Zhao and the technician were chatting, but both of them were looking at the screen seriously. What an honest man. Yes. The party teaches us to seek truth from facts. You joined the party. No. Anyway, I am not working for the machinery department. Why should I join the party? Stop. Jiang Zhao shouted, and the technician immediately stopped the image. Jiang Zhao saw the man turn his head and zoomed in on the image. But he still could not see the man's face. The mask on his head was pulled down, and he was walking with his head lowered. The technician also showed the video of Yi Er giving the wrong medication. That nurse entered the elevator from the underground parking lot. Her license plate was blocked, and she went straight to the nurse's room. She then pushed the trolley into Yi Er's room and went straight to the underground parking lot. She did not even change out of her nurse uniform. When the trolley left the hospital, the person driving was not wearing a pink nurse uniform. She should have taken it off, or there was someone else waiting for her. But that nurse's uniform was just right for her. She was tall and did not look like a woman. We don't have such a tall nurse in our hospital, the technician said. When Jiang Zhao heard the technician say that, he finally confirmed that Yi Er's life was in danger at any moment. Someone could want her life at any moment. Who was this person? Today. That man went into Yi Er's room and then left. He then knocked on Qing Su's door. This was too strange. What was the connection? Perhaps the nurse's walking posture was purposely awkward, but after zooming in on the same two heads, one of them had fairer skin and the other had darker skin. It was not done by the same person. As Jiang Zhao thought about this, a chill ran through his heart. He started to feel uneasy. He cuffed the man's part and took it away. When he returned to Yi Er's room, he reached out to touch Yi Er's nose. She was breathing. He felt that he was being too sensitive. He then went to the duty room to remind Yun Hongwei to inform him immediately if anything happened. When he returned to Yi Er's room, he locked the door, took a shower, and went to bed. Jiang Zhao had just come out of the bathroom and wanted to sleep with Yi Er. He would only feel at ease if he hugged her. But before he could crawl into bed, there was a knock on the door. Qing Su was shouting outside the door. Jiang Zhao, open the door. Help me. I drew a picture. Help me. Welfare, Songshu 566. Chapter 612. Jiang Zhao did not dislike Qing Su for being noisy, but he disliked her for being so noisy at the wrong time. At this time, everyone was already asleep, and Yi was already asleep. She knocked on the door indiscriminately. When he went to open the door, he heard Yi asking in a daze, "Who's here?" Jiang Zhao frowned. How annoying. Qing Su was shouting for Jiang Zhao to help, but when she heard Yi Er's voice, she immediately crawled under Jiang Zhao's arm and jumped onto Yi Er's bed with the drawing in her hand. She asked excitedly, "Sister Yi Er, I drew a picture. Look, look. Isn't this man the pervert who wanted to strangle me this afternoon?" When Jiang Zhao heard this, he quickly closed the door and strode back to Yi Er's bedside. When he saw Yi Er suddenly frown when he looked at the drawing, he quickly took the drawing from their hands. When he looked at it, he also frowned. He looked down at the small child kneeling on Yi Er's bed and could only be described as speechless. "Qing Su, is this a drawing of a person?" No wonder Yi Er kept frowning when he looked at it. How could it not be difficult? Shouldn't Si Jie be better at drawing? How is it not? It has a nose and eyes. I've never drawn before, but I think it's quite good. It's very lifelike. After saying this, she shook Yi Er's arm. "Sister Yi Er, don't you think so? I should go to university to study art, right? I think I have the talent of an artist." Yi Er laughed dryly. "Ahem, you do have the talent of an artist." Jiang Zhao looked at the elementary school level drawing in his hand and added, "Qing Su, you can definitely become an abstract artist in the future. A master of art." Qing Su got off the bed and stood beside Jiang Zhao. She took the painting from his hand and said, "Thank you for your compliment. I will work hard." Jiang Zhao looked at the portrait in Qing Su's hand, and an idea suddenly flashed through his mind. "Qing Su, did you draw this portrait based on that person's appearance?" "Yes. I'll call someone over tomorrow. You guys watch him draw and try your best to draw that person's face completely." Yi Er nodded and agreed. However, Qing Su said, "Are you complaining that my drawing isn't good enough? You're doing freehand brushwork. Tomorrow, I'll find someone to do a realistic painting. You can learn from them. Why do you want to go further than what's close at hand? Isn't Yunwu good at drawing? Why don't we just ask him to come over and draw?" Qing Su gave the best suggestion. Jiang Zhao said coldly, "Qing Su, go back and rest early. I'll make the arrangements." Qing Su didn't even know what was going on before she was chased away. How would she know that Jiang Zhao hated Yunwu? Qing Su returned home dejectedly. She took the painting back to her room. Min Hongxing, who was about to go to bed, asked, "Qing Su, did you go next door just now?" Qing Su nodded and said unhappily, "Yeah, let Jiang Zhao see the murderer I drew." Min Hongxing was shocked. "Come, let Daddy see." Qing Su actually didn't like Min Hongxing sleeping in her room. She didn't need anyone to accompany her, and she would press the call bell if she needed anything. However, Min Hongxing insisted that he wouldn't care about her after she was discharged from the hospital. Moreover, during the days when she was in a coma, he was the one who accompanied her in bed. Qing Su didn't know why, but her brain short-circuited and she agreed to it. This feeling was really strange, and she wasn't used to it. She handed the painting in her hand to Min Hongxing. When Min Hongxing saw it, the corners of his mouth twitched imperceptibly. Then, he immediately smiled and said in a voice full of praise, I really didn't expect my baby girl to have a talent for drawing. After you're discharged, Daddy will find you a famous teacher to teach you. Maybe our family will have a female artist in the future. Daddy stinks of money. If we have a female artist, we'll bring honor to our ancestors. Ching Su turned her face away. Who will bring honor to your ancestors? My surname is Liu. After saying that, she couldn't help but laugh. Oh right, there's no need to hire a teacher. I think Shi Yunwa's drawing is pretty good. Why don't you go and ask Grandpa Shi to teach me how to draw? Min Hongxing was stunned. A few days ago, he thought that his daughter was in love with Jiang Zhao and always wanted to run next door. He was worried that she would fall in love with a married man. Why did she suddenly fall in love with Shi Yunwu? However, that kid from the Shi family wasn't bad. He was good-looking and had a good family background. He was a good match for his daughter. Thus, Min Hongxing's brain started to think like it was infected with a virus. Okay, Daddy will go and talk about this tomorrow. Is that okay? Okay. Ching Su thought for a while and said, also, I actually want to learn how to do business and earn more money in the future. Why don't you ask Qin Fian to teach me how to do business? Min Hongxing felt that his brain needed to be reinstalled. This girl wanted to have a foot in two boats. That's not good. Qin Fian is Jiang Zhao's cousin. We should avoid contact with the Qins and the Jiangs. Why? Sister Yi Er and I are quite close. In any case, don't interact too much with him. Ching Su sighed and said, Min Hongxing, I think you can be quite childish at times. You should have taken the initiative to reconcile the matter between Min Zikai and Yi Er's sister. Even I know that it's easier to make enemies than to make enemies. Even I know that Jiang Zhao's family background is strong and powerful. But why do you have to be as smelly and stubborn as a rock in a latrine? Although you may not be able to be friends with the Jiang and Qin families, you can't be their enemy either. How can you do business like this? Ching Su was impulsive and loyal, but she wasn't stupid. Moreover, she had been in society for a long time and could see the fickleness of human nature. She could even feel the need to be hospitalized. In the past, when she was poor, she would line up to go see a doctor and the doctor would be expressionless. Now that she was rich, she had to stay in a ward alone when she was sick. The ward was even bigger than her and her mother's house. The attitude of the doctors and nurses was very good. Although she didn't curry favor with people from rich families, she wouldn't deliberately cause trouble or make enemies with them. Of course, it was a different story if they provoked her. But Min Hongxing's attitude was obviously not good. Jiang Zhao didn't have a bad temper and treat her badly, but Min Hongxing had always been resistant to the matter between Yi Er and Jiang Zhao. Min Hongxing was surprised for a moment. He never expected Ching Su to say such things. He also never thought that Ching Su's mind would suddenly become so mature. He was suddenly gratified. Ching Su, Daddy knows. It's just that some things aren't as simple as you think. It's not the right time to tell you now. Some things, whether it's friends or enemies, can't be resolved easily. You'll understand in the future. Daddy will slowly teach you how to do business in the future. When Ching Su heard Min Hongxing's dogmatic words, she didn't say anything else. She also felt that she had said too much today. She pulled the blanket away, took off her shoes, and crawled in. She pulled the blanket over herself and went to sleep. Yi Er leaned into Jiang Zhao's arms. Jiang Zhao couldn't sleep. He could feel that Yi Er was also moving around at this time. If it were any other time and she was moving around in his arms like this, he would definitely not be able to control himself and want to do her. But today, he really wasn't in the mood at all. When he thought about what happened in the afternoon in Zhou, he didn't have the mood to do that at all. The woman's back was pressed against his chest. Her spine felt as if it was touching. She had lost weight during this period of hospitalization. Yun Yi, tell me, what kind of family would be happy? When Yi Er heard Jiang Zhao's voice, it sounded a little distant and a little cold. She was a little uncomfortable. If she was uncomfortable, then so be it. At most, she wouldn't turn around and look at him. She thought about her own wishes. She wanted to have him, take him down, and make him hers. From his body to his heart, she wanted to nibble at him step by step. When she thought about how he would fall in love with her someday, her heart was as sweet as honey. Even her voice became a little softer, and there was a hint of happiness in it. I think that a family with love would be happy. Jiang Zhao listened to Yi Er's voice. It was as if it wasn't real. Her voice was like a sandwich dessert. With one bite, it was soft, sticky, and sweet. Even with his eyes closed, he could feel the clouds in the sky being sprinkled with sugar. That cloud was extremely blissful. She said that a family with love would be happy. The word love. Did this word make her feel so comfortable? What if it's like us? Jiang Zhao thought to himself. If he said it too directly, would it spoil the atmosphere a little? Yi Er's heart sank. The happiness from before was swept clean. Suddenly, she felt a little down, and her back stiffened for a moment. If a man hugged you and asked you, would a family like ours be unhappy without love? If he asked you that question, how would you answer? At this moment, Jiang Zhao was hugging Yi Er. He could feel the reaction of her stiffening back, and he sighed softly in his heart. Yi Er took a deep breath. She should sort out her emotions and not let them fluctuate too much. He hugged her from behind, his arms circling around her chest. Her hand reached over and rested on his wrist, gently caressing it. Even though the scene from before was gone, after a moment of silence, she suddenly had a new answer. I think we will be happy. Before we got married, I said before that marriage doesn't necessarily require love. I think responsibility is also very important. As long as the two of us are willing to protect this family and let this family continue to be stable, then we will be happy. Just like in the middle of winter, even if there's no air conditioner in the room, we can still cover ourselves with blankets. As long as no one comes to lift the blankets, as long as we cover ourselves tightly and don't let the cold wind enter the blankets, we will be able to sleep soundly and have a good night's sleep. Think about it, isn't it great to have a warm place to sleep in the middle of winter? Yi Er knew that she and Jiang Zhao were like a small world. In this small world, they needed warmth and a place to nurture warmth. They needed blankets to cover themselves against the cold. They needed to defend with their lives. However, during this process, no one could snatch their blankets away. The Ouyang Yan was Jiang Zhao's air conditioner. Without blankets, as long as the Ouyang Yan was running, Jiang Zhao could even take off his clothes and sleep with it on his body. However, she wasn't Jiang Zhao's air conditioner. She could only hug him and use her meager body temperature to use the cotton blankets to protect her body temperature. She used the entire night to warm up the long night that belonged to them. As long as the Ouyang Yan didn't lift her blankets, she and Jiang Zhao would be able to sleep warmly until dawn. It wasn't that she didn't feel sour in her heart. Every woman had her own self-esteem. Since she was young, she had been taught that women must know how to love themselves. However, when you fell in love with someone, self-esteem would be left behind. She pestered him and took the initiative to please him. After quarreling, she took the initiative to admit her mistakes. Actually, she was also very envious of those girls who were pursued by men. Every day, they would make solemn vows of love. I love you. I love you for 10,000 years. My love for you will never change. She also wanted someone to say these words to her and shamelessly beg her to give him her heart. Then, she would arrogantly do things again and again. She wouldn't stop until she tortured that man to death. That kind of vanity was so desirable. However, the person she fell in love with was Jiang Zhao. Jiang Zhao had the Ouyang Yan. Ad. Hongcha 866. Chapter 613. Jiang Zhao couldn't become that kind of man. If he became that kind of man, he wouldn't be Jiang Zhao anymore. He hugged the woman who had lost a lot of weight even tighter. Jiang Zhao's heart was gently plucked and trembled as it bounced against the walls of his heart. It was both itchy and painful. Xing Tingting said that he and Yunye weren't compatible because Yunye's education level was low while his was high, because Yunye's family background wasn't good while his family background was good. He knew that it was easy to not find common ground when it came to education. But now, he increasingly didn't know what superficial was. Was Yunye superficial? She always said things that were so shallow that one could see the sand and stones at the bottom of the water, but all of a sudden, it seeped into one's heart. Their marriage didn't have a love that could warm them up like an air conditioner. Then, they would find a bed and blanket, hug each other, and cover the gaps around them. In the middle of winter, how could they not be happy to have a warm place to sleep? To be able to feel warmth in winter, if this wasn't happiness, then what else could be considered happiness? She was different from Zhou Li. She had a sense of responsibility. She said that responsibility was very important. He believed that she was willing to be responsible for this family. At this moment, he was willing to believe in her. A week later, all of Yi Er's indicators were normal and she was discharged. The people from the Jiang family called to urge him to prepare for the wedding on the 6th day of the first lunar month in Jiang district. Jiang Zhao agreed. On Sunday morning, the fog and frost were heavy. Yi Er was forcefully pulled out of bed by Jiang Zhao and went outside to do morning exercises. Jiang Zhao was dressed in a light gray casual suit with a drawstring top that made him look especially youthful. Yi Er rarely saw Jiang Zhao dressed so casually. She really felt that this guy obviously wanted her to come out for morning exercises and deliberately dressed so youthful to seduce her. "Ah Zhao, didn't we renovate a gym on the 2nd floor? Let's not go outside to do morning exercises." Yi Er felt that it was cold outside and it was easy to drink the cold wind into her stomach. How can that be the same? The environment here is so good. Of course, we have to come out to breathe in the fresh air. Dad has already taken Si Jie to exercise. How can you be so lazy? In fact, Jiang Zhao did not mean to do this. His mother said that since they were already married, it was better for them to exercise their bodies and have a child as soon as possible. Speaking of this, he had some thoughts. Although he had a child at home now, he was his brother-in-law after all. He could not be compared to his own flesh and blood. His eldest brother's son was also very likable. She had just been discharged from the hospital, so it was naturally not good for her to be pregnant. She needed to exercise and start implementing this plan after the college entrance examination next year. It was not as if she could not get pregnant in college now. If he really couldn't do it, he would just take a break from school. After all, he couldn't wait any longer. Yi Er really had no way to compete with Jiang Zhao. She was urged and beaten by him all the way until she walked a few rounds around the neighborhood like a dog. When she bumped into Zhuang Yichen, who was walking a big golden retriever, Yi Er stopped and hid behind Jiang Zhao. She was a little scared of Zhuang Yichen. Zhuang Yichen acted like he was not familiar with Jiang Zhao and greeted him casually. "Mayor Jiang, Mrs. Jiang, good morning." Jiang Zhao replied politely. "Mr. Zhuang, are you walking your dog?" "Yes." After saying that, he squatted down and stretched out his big hand to scratch the golden retriever's neck. He raised his head and looked at Yi Er. When he smiled, 1,000 flowers bloomed. "Mrs. Jiang, you look good today. You are getting prettier." Yi Er rarely saw Zhuang Yichen smile, and it was such a friendly smile. Sometimes, it was a cold smile. Looking at him walking his pet and smiling at her, she felt dizzy. Luckily, she already had someone in her heart. What if she was still a young girl? Who would be able to withstand this kind of shock? Qiu Xiaoye was the best. She still said she was not getting married. Did she really not want to marry Zhuang Yichen? These 4 young masters of Haiqing were the scourge of Haiqing. Jiang Zhao was still the best. She had taken care of this scourge, and he would not be able to harm others in the future. Ouyang Yan was an exception. She would slowly make him unable to harm Ouyang Yan. Thank you for the compliment. Yi Er took another step forward. Zhuang Yichen was not as fierce as before. She kind of liked the dog in his hands. She reached out to play with it, but before she could bend down, Jiang Zhao pulled her hand back. Be careful, it will bite you. Why would it? It's not like I haven't had a dog before. Golden retrievers are very kind. Let's go. Jiang Zhao pulled Yi Er away and said to Zhuang Yichen, Mr. Zhuang, take your time. We will run for a while more. Okay, take care. After Zhuang Yichen finished speaking, he stood up and walked his dog in the opposite direction of Jiang Zhao. Why won't you let me touch it? Golden retrievers won't bite people. Its owner is still here. Jiang Zhao definitely wouldn't say that he wanted her to have a baby, so he couldn't have a pet until after the baby was born. Seeing that Yi Er was angrily following behind him and refusing to chase after him, he trotted back to Yi Er's side and walked slowly with her. Pets carry a lot of germs on them. What if they touch it? Do you think people like Zhuang Yichen won't keep their dogs clean? You're really thinking too much. You don't know how fast germs can mutate nowadays. It's the easiest for germs to mutate from animals to humans. Every large-scale national serious disease is mutated from animals. You have no compassion. Yi Er knew that Jiang Zhao was telling the truth, but she still couldn't agree with his point of view. Zhuang Yichen looked like a cold-blooded person, but he still had a dog. Jiang Zhao was the real cold-blooded one. He didn't have any compassion at all. You like pets. I'll buy you a fish to raise, okay? We're both animals. Now you have compassion, right? Jiang Zhao took a step back. Yi Er exploded with anger. Fish. Dog. How could it be the same? How could it be the same? Oh my God. What was this man's brain made of? How could it be the same when they were both animals? Why don't you ask me to raise a snake? We're both animals. You want to raise a snake. But I don't think you have the guts to do that. If you really like it, I'll buy it for you. I'll just pull out your teeth. Okay. Get lost. Who said I want to raise a snake? She clearly said that she wanted to raise a dog. How did it turn into buying a snake to raise? Jiang Zhao shook his head. Are all women as unreasonable as you? Yi Er felt like she had been stabbed. Ouyang Yan is very sensible. He never quarrels with you, right? Boring. Jiang Zhao turned to leave. Yi Er also turned to leave. After taking 2 steps, she realized that something was wrong. Why did she leave? She went back to chase after Jiang Zhao. Hey, why did you say that I'm unreasonable? You must explain to me clearly. You've always been unreasonable. I didn't. You did. When did this happen? You must have evidence to slander me. Anytime. From morning till night. Good morning, Mayor Jiang, Mrs. Jiang. Yi Er immediately held Jiang Zhao's arm and smiled. Good morning, Mrs. Wang. When the strollers walked past, Yi Er immediately shook off Jiang Zhao's hand. From morning till night. Don't I have an hour of normal time? Am I so unbearable in your eyes? Jiang Zhao turned to look at Yi Er, who was angry alone, and held his forehead. Oh my God, your imagination is really rich. Yes, 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 yes. I have a rich imagination. I'm unreasonable. I'm not good at anything. Both of them acted like a model couple. After they separated, they started to bicker with each other until they reached home. Yi Er took out a pair of shoes and placed it in front of Jiang Zhao. Change your shoes. Although you think I'm not good at anything, I'm used to carrying your shoes for you. Although I'm angry with you, I can't bring myself to let you wear a pair of female slippers. Jiang Zhao smiled and entered the house. Yi Er went to prepare some porridge, fried some eggs, and prepared some side dishes. After breakfast was ready, she said, "Let's eat breakfast. You don't have to wait for Dad and the rest. Although you think I'm not good at anything, I'm still used to cooking breakfast for you. Although I'm angry with you, I can't let you starve or feed you soy milk." Jiang Zhao smiled and ate his breakfast happily. After breakfast, Yi Er started to clear the dishes. "Although you think I'm not good at anything, I'm still used to not letting you do the dishes and do the housework." Jiang Zhao stood up silently and sat on the sofa. He pulled out a newspaper and read it. After Yi Er finished washing the dishes, she wiped her hands and sat beside Jiang Zhao to make her presence known. Before she could say what she wanted to say, Jiang Zhao looked at the newspaper and said, "Although you said I don't think you're good at anything, I still think you're a very good girl. So a good girl should smile more and not complain all the time. She shouldn't be narrow-minded all the time. She should be broad-minded. That way, she'll become prettier." What? He actually said she wasn't broad-minded enough. Because she even allowed him to have a mistress. How could she be broad-minded? Was the Pacific Ocean so wide? Jiang Zhao glanced over and saw that Yi Er was about to say something again. He immediately threw the newspaper away and opened his arms. "Come, my beautiful girl. Let your husband reward you with a kiss. Go to hell, who cares?" Yi Er's mouth twitched a little awkwardly. "You're not coming. If you're not coming, then I'm coming," Jiang Zhao said and pounced on her. Yi Er was pressed onto the sofa and kissed fiercely. Yi Er was kissed until she was panting. She pushed Jiang Zhao away and said coquettishly, "Hey, didn't we agree on a kiss?" Jiang Zhao put his hand under Yi Er's clothes. His dry palm oil felt very comfortable on her soft and supple skin. He bit her ear and teased, "Oh, I'm sorry. Why did I give you so much at once? Can you give it back to me? How many more did I give you? Was there 10,000? Give me back 9,999. I'm going to faint. How can there be 10,000 kisses in such a short time? So you think it's too little?" "No, Yi Er was pinched, kissed, and rubbed. She was as soft as a puddle of mud. "Hubby, it's so early in the morning. Don't play like this. I can't take it." "Can't take what?" The tip of the man's nose was on the woman's neck. He didn't care even if he burned her to death. "I can't take it. I can't take it. You seduced me." The living room was very big. The long sofa was connected to one another. It was a little exciting in such a bright and open place. But when she thought about how her father and brother could come back at any time, she still felt a little depressed. The man's hand was already unwilling to just invade her upper body and move to her pants. "Hubby, Daddy is coming back." Yi Er was so anxious that she kept twisting. She grabbed Jiang Zhao's clothes and pulled tightly. Her voice was as unbearable as her buttocks that were moving. "Go upstairs." Jiang Zhao was already on top of Yi Er. At this moment, he pulled out his hand from her pants and put it under her waist. When he scooped her up, he also stood up. Yi Er hooked her legs around Jiang Zhao's waist tightly. "Come and see." Xinwu 799. Chapter 614. Jiang Zhao was a little excited as he hugged Yi Er and rushed upstairs. Yi Er wondered if it was because she had too much free time today. She had eaten breakfast and was dressed warmly, so her lust came especially quickly. After being discharged from the hospital, his body was getting better day by day. Jiang Zhao was getting fiercer and fiercer each time. Yi Er heard the sound of the door opening downstairs. Her body stiffened once, and she patted Jiang Zhao's naked body. "Hubby, my dad and the others are back. What should we do?" Jiang Zhao smiled and put more force on her butt. "They're also home at night. Why aren't you afraid? What if he comes to call us for breakfast? Dad knows that we've definitely eaten. Should I go down and help Dad fry eggs?" Jiang Zhao was a little impatient and retorted again. Yi Er bit her lip and moaned. "Yun Yi, why don't we buy another house for Dad and the others?" "Okay." "Why? Every time you worry about this and that, I feel that our sex life is affected." "How is that? Don't you think that the quality is not as good as before? We're upstairs and downstairs, but you're worried about the sound of the bed, and you're worried about yourself calling out. When you suppress it, it makes me feel suppressed." Yi Er was most afraid of making Jiang Zhao feel suppressed in bed. What if he didn't have enough at her place and ran out to steal food? Thinking about it, she felt that she was worrying too much. In fact, her father was a very sensitive person and would never come upstairs. He had also taught Si Jia several times that he was not allowed to go upstairs to look for her and Jiang Zhao. If there was something, he should call out downstairs. It was inevitable that her suspicions would affect the quality. "I was wrong. I won't be like this in the future, okay? Good girl." It wasn't until after this time that Yi Er realized that she was really thinking too much. Not to mention that no one came upstairs, no one even called out. Covered in sweat, he got up and went to take a shower. Yi Er only wanted to wash her body. She didn't want to wash her hair, so she called out to Jiang Zhao, "Hubby." Jiang Zhao was still lying on the bed. "Aw. What's wrong? Help me grab the hair from the dresser drawer. My hair is getting wet." "Oh, wait a moment." Jiang Zhao got out of bed and wrapped himself in a bathrobe. He walked towards the dressing table and opened the drawer. There were a lot of small things inside. Women were troublesome. There were several eyebrow trimming tools and a lot of eyeshadow colors. It was dazzling. It was a small bottle with a tinge of brown color. What was that? The skincare products were all on the table. If they were skincare products, the packaging would be too ugly. She wouldn't go and buy some cheap stuff, would she? He had never shortchanged her. She picked it up and looked at it. There was no logo, only a sticker that said, "Birth Control." When Jiang Zhao saw these words, his back stiffened. He didn't know that Yi Er had been taking such things. Logically speaking, people like them didn't need it. He was an adult and knew to use a condom. He didn't use it during the safe period. Was she afraid that the safe period wasn't enough? Was she that afraid of getting pregnant? Was she that afraid of getting pregnant with his child? "Hubby," Jiang Zhao's hand trembled and the bottle almost fell to the ground. I want to take a shower." "Did you find the hair?" "It's black. The claws are interlocked and bite together. It looks like two rakes." "Oh, I saw it." Jiang Zhao put the bottle of birth control pills back to its original position. He held the black hair in his hand and closed the drawer. He was too polite and didn't have the habit of going through her things. That was why she was so generous to put the birth control pills in front of him. He went into the bathroom, opened the glass door of the shower area and handed the hair to Yi Er. Yi Er just smiled and said, "Thank you." But when she saw Jiang Zhao's icy expression, she couldn't help but tremble. He said that he was handing the hair to her, but the man's eyes were looking into her eyes. He was holding the hair so tightly that she couldn't snatch it away. Yi Er felt that Jiang Zhao's eyes looked like he wanted to eat someone. No, he wanted to eat her, bite by bite. Under the torture of the man's cutting gaze, her blood coagulated inch by inch. Yi Er shivered and murmured, "Hubby." Yi Er's voice pulled Jiang Zhao back to reality. Give it to me. The hair. Yi Er purposely ignored Jiang Zhao and shifted her gaze to her hand. She pouted and pouted. She said softly, "If you want to use it, you have to wait until you have hair as long as mine. I'm still so young. Can't you let me have it?" Oh. Jiang Zhao loosened his grip. Yes, she was still young. Taking off his bathrobe, he stepped into the shower room and closed the glass door behind him. Reaching out, he picked up a strand of Yi Er's hair, twisted it, and fixed it on top of her head. Then, he took the strand of hair from her hand and tied it into a bun on top of her head. As he turned on the water, he rubbed some shower gel in his hand and rubbed it on Yi Er's body. Yi Er followed Jiang Zhao's example and bathed him. Yi Er felt ticklish all over. She chuckled and bubbles flew all over the bathroom. She hugged Jiang Zhao's neck. "Hubby, Sister Xiaoya is already 25 years old. Why hasn't she married Zhuang Yichen yet? Why do you care so much about other people's business? I'm just worried that Sister Xiaoya will have children later because she's old." Jiang Zhao took Yi Er's hand away and turned her back to him. He rubbed her back. 25 years old is too late. Then what about other people who have children in their 30s? Besides, children are so annoying. They're so noisy all day long. It's so annoying. Yi Er lowered her head. Suddenly, she looked like a frosted eggplant. Oh. When Jiang Zhao received a call from family Ouyang's old master Ouyang Xing, he was just about to go back to sleep. Fourth Grandpa. In Haiqing, family Ouyang's old master had always been respectfully addressed as Fourth Grandpa. Jiang Zhao also kept calling him Fourth Grandpa. Ouyang Xing laughed and said, "Zhao Zhao, did Fourth Grandpa disturb your sleep?" "No, I woke up early." "Fourth Grandpa, have you had breakfast?" Yes. When Ouyang Xing smiled, there was a hint of shrewdness in his smile. At the end of his words, he smacked his lips and said, "Zhao Zhao, can you find some time to come to the Ouyang family today? The fourth master has encountered some difficulties, and he needs your help to think of a way." Jiang Zhao frowned and asked, "Fourth Grandpa, what trouble did you encounter?" "It's not to make things difficult for you. I just want you to persuade Hai Zi." "Hai Zi? What's wrong with Hai Zi?" "Zhao Zhao, you guys grew up together. Hai Zi is also close to you. Even though Yun Yun and you have become distant in recent years, the two of you are still close. Brothers are still brothers." Jiang Zhao smiled. "I didn't want to disturb you about today's matter." Jiang Zhao immediately said, "Fourth Grandpa, what are you talking about? What disturbances are you talking about? Aren't you treating me as an outsider?" Jiang Zhao thought that if Grandpa called Ouyang Hai at this time to say that he was disturbing him, Ouyang Hai would probably nod and bow and say, "Grandpa Qin, what are you talking about? Are you trying to kill me?" He really couldn't stand these old people's words. They really wanted to break the young people's waists. Ouyang Xing sighed and said angrily, "Hai Zi, that bastard, wants to divorce Junjun. Junjun, that girl, is dutiful. She just entered the family Ouyang for a year and gave birth to a big fat boy for the family Ouyang. After that, she was very obedient. Tell me, have you heard of our Junjun causing trouble outside?" Jiang Zhao nodded and said sincerely, "That's true. Ni Jun is really a role model for the daughter-in-law of a rich family. Junjun is just too honest. Now that Hai Zi, that bastard, wants a divorce, but now Qiu hugs his mother every day and refuses to let go. Wherever Junjun goes, he will follow. Such a young child insists on moving out with his mother. This old man's heart is broken." Ouyang Xing choked. Jiang Zhao frowned. Fourth grandpa, don't worry. Whether Hai Zi listens to your advice or not, I'll give him a call later. Zhao Zhao, I still want to invite you to come over. Come to the house. Yesterday afternoon, this brat wanted to greet Junjun with an ear of melon seeds. If someone tried to persuade him, he even threw something at them. I feel that you and Hai Zi are brothers, so he will more or less listen to your advice. No matter what we old people say, he will say it's old. Dong. Jiang Zhao couldn't help but sigh in his heart. Since the word please had already been said, he really couldn't reject it. Hai City was only so big, and the power field was only so big. There were checks and balances everywhere, and no one could offend anyone. On the surface, the Qin family was the #1 family, and no one dared to bully the Jiang family in the east. However, in reality, the other families were also restrained by each other. He had a good relationship with Ouyang Hai, but why did he find him to persuade him not to get a divorce? Could it be because he was a married man? Fourth grandpa, then in the afternoon. I'll go over after lunch. I still have some things to settle here. Jiang Zhao thought that he should stay at home more to cultivate his relationship with Yi Er during the weekend. Ouyang Xing was a little troubled. I'm not disturbing you, am I? Fourth grandpa, don't say that again. I really don't deserve your words. Okay. Then I'll trouble you, Zhao Zhao. I'll wait for you in the afternoon. Jiang Zhao politely hung up the phone and fell back on the bed. Yunyi, I'm going to family Ouyang's house in the afternoon. You stay at home with Dad. What are you going to do? Family Ouyang. Ouyang Yan's house. Yun's brother is asking for a divorce. Fourth grandpa asked me to go over and persuade him. I'll go with you. Yi Er knew that Jiang Zhao liked Ouyang Yan, so she didn't dare to act like a shrew. She said gently, I'll go with you to visit him. Why are you going? Don't go. Stay at home. Jiang Zhao's attitude was firm. Ouyang Xing said that if someone went to persuade him, she would throw things at him. If she picked up something and threw it at him, it didn't matter if he was hurt. Men had rough skin and thick flesh. The key was that Yi Er had been in trouble for the past few months. If something happened again, he would be tortured to death by her. Okay, that's it. Beauty novel, Hongcha 866. Chapter 615. After lunch, Yi Er reluctantly sent Jiang Zhao to the parking lot. She even closed the car door for him and said many times, Hubby, take me to see the world. Go back. If you have nothing to do, play video games with Xijia. Be good, be obedient. Jiang Zhao locked the car door and rolled down the window. He said to Yi Er, you're cuter if you're obedient. Yi Er could only sigh. She really didn't know what to do. She was afraid that if she wasn't obedient, Jiang Zhao wouldn't like her. But he was going to the family Ouyang. Watching Jiang Zhao's car drive out of the garage, Yi Er stood in the same place for a long time. Her eyelids twitched. When Jiang Zhao arrived at the family Ouyang, he didn't see any discordant scene. Ni Jun was playing with Cho in the garden. After greeting Ni Jun and hugging Cho, he realized that the boy had grown taller. He even had a child. Why was he divorced? Also, this child was so cute. How could he live without a mother? He really didn't know what Ouyang Hai was thinking. The servant led Jiang Zhao through the garden and into the villa. He didn't see Ouyang Xing. Instead, he went straight to Ouyang Xing's study. There was a group of old people in Hai City who were like old Master Qin. For example, Ouyang Xing liked to do antique calligraphy and paintings. His study was like a painter's study. After Jiang Zhao sat down, Ouyang Xing personally started to brew tea. Zhao Zhao, you haven't come to our house in a long time. How could that be? I come to visit every year during the new year. Jiang Zhao picked up a pair of tongs and prepared to help Ouyang Xing wash the tea set. In the past, you didn't just come to visit. You also came to visit this old man during the solar festival. Fourth Grandpa, I'm sorry. I've been busy these past few years. I'll come often in the future. Jiang Zhao felt that the atmosphere was not right. Ouyang Xing had always been a shrewd person. Was it because of something else? Ouyang Xing looked at Jiang Zhao's doubtful expression and sighed. I called Hai Zi and he's rushing home right now. You saw him when you entered the courtyard just now. Qiu is so cute, right? Jiang Zhao relaxed his guard. Yes, she's cute. I had a lot of fun with Ni Jun, Ouyang Xing sighed. He's only happy because his mother is around. He's no longer 1 or 2 years old. It doesn't matter if his mother leaves. He's already 6 years old. He knows and remembers everything. If we get a divorce now, it'll have a huge impact on the child. Jiang Zhao said, Fourth Grandpa, actually, the children and grandchildren have their own blessings. If the parents' relationship really breaks down and they quarrel every day, such a marriage is not good for the children. But I didn't know that Hai Zi didn't treat Ni Jun well. In the past, it wasn't easy to get her. You don't know how to cherish it. Where can I find a daughter-in-law like Jun in the future? How many girls nowadays are willing to stay at home like Jun? While they were talking, someone knocked on the door. It was Ouyang Hai. Ouyang Hai took off his blazer and smiled at Jiang Zhao. Mayor Jiang, welcome. Jiang Zhao stood up and punched Ouyang Hai on his shoulder. Go to hell. Are you trying to embarrass me? How dare I? Ouyang Hai looked at Ouyang Xing. Grandpa, why didn't you inform me that you are inviting such a distinguished guest? No, I must drink more with Jiang Zhao today. I must ask the kitchen to prepare more dishes today. This fellow is successful now, and he doesn't even care about me. Ouyang Xing replied happily. Jiang Zhao shook his head and smiled. If it weren't for Fourth Grandpa, I would have beaten you up. Ouyang Hai looked at Jiang Zhao and laughed. Fine. I will ask my grandpa to stop protecting him. Ouyang Xing stood up. Fine. You two brothers can have a fight here. I will go out first. Jiang Zhao said. Hai Zi, I will not be eating here tonight. No. You must eat here tonight. If not, you are not giving me face. Ouyang Xing left the study room and returned to his bedroom. He took out his phone and dialed a number. Yun, he is here. Wait for us to eat before you come back. Jiang Zhao looked at the time and thought about his mission today. Hai Zi, I will pass on Fourth Grandpa's message. Hi, don't say any more. He worries all day long. Jiang Zhao, I want to. Ouyang Xing pulled Jiang Zhao to sit at the tea table and continued Ouyang Xing's cooking routine. He did not follow the old man's rules and casually placed his elbows on his legs to support himself. He raised his eyes and glanced at Jiang Zhao. Jiang Zhao had always been a vigilant person. When Ouyang Hai was here, his intuition was that there was no need to persuade him about the divorce. Jiang Zhao did not reply. He liked to wait for others to say more, so that he could listen and see more, and then distinguish the intentions of others. He placed his palms on his knees and propped his shoulders up a little. He took the small teacup from Ouyang Hai and sniffed the fragrance of the white smoke rising from the cup. He swallowed the scalding hot tea into his stomach and said, "This tea is really good. Fourth Grandpa has collected so many good things." Ouyang Hai laughed. Jiang Zhao, you are starting to play Tai Chi with me again. Do you not drink enough good tea? What kind of good tea does Grandpa Chi not have? I'm not afraid to be frank with you. I know that after the change of route for subway line 2 this time, you guys have been finalizing the plan. Don't let Fian have all the benefits. Subway line 2 is so long, and we're brothers. What do you say? Ouyang Hai's smile was very clear. Jiang Zhao was a person who valued relationships and loyalty. If he was a sinister person, then he was also very sinister. The family Ouyang and the Qin family were old friends. Speaking of old friends, there were many kinds of old friends. If he and Ouyang Yan's marriage had been successful, then this old friendship level would have reached a new height. But at present, this kind of old friendship was definitely not at the level of sharing benefits. The second subway line was very long, and there were many stations, but there were not many empty and good places. The fattest places naturally had to be chosen by Fian and Zhuang Yichen. There were many people who grew up with Jiang Zhao. When they met, they also called each other brothers. But so what? Who would give a blueprint when they called each other brothers? Just give a hint. Then he had only been a deputy mayor for a few years. He might as well find a chance to break the rules. Hi Z, look at what you're saying. I am a person who separates public and private matters. You mean that Fian is not capable? If Grandpa heard this, he would be furious. He always thought that Fian was very capable. Jiang Zhao tried his best not to let the topic lean towards the second subway line. Ouyang Hai was startled for a moment, then sighed, well, Grandpa Qin's precious grandson really can't be said to be incapable. This only child's IQ has broken through the roof. Your words really put me under a lot of pressure. Next time, Fian will say that I am insulting him behind his back. Jiang Zhao touched little Zisha's teacup and placed it on the tea table. He poured the filtered tea into his own cup and looked up at Ouyang Hai. He smiled and said, see, in your eyes, I'm such a person who can't keep his words. Are you afraid that I'll go and tell Fian such trivial things? Beauty Novel, Songshu 566. Chapter 616. Jiang Zhao and Ouyang Hai were in the middle of this Tai Chi discussion about subway line 2. Dinner time had arrived. When the servant came to call them for dinner, Jiang Zhao stood up. Hi Z, you don't listen to my advice. But I think Chiu is very cute. Of course. If my son is not cute, who is cute? Ha ha ha. Ouyang Hai laughed when he mentioned his son. He stood up and walked in front of Jiang Zhao. Let's go for dinner. Jiang Zhao looked at his watch. Hi Z, I will not be having dinner here tonight. Everyone is here on Sunday. How can you do that? It's rare for you to come here, and you don't even want to have dinner. Ouyang Hai patted Jiang Zhao's back. Let's go. If you don't want to give me face, then give my grandfather some face. How about it? Jiang Zhao exhaled. He didn't want Ouyang Xing to beat around the bush and ask about the second line for the whole afternoon, and then be forced by Ouyang Xing at the dinner table in the evening. Hi Z, I can't do that. I had promised Yunyi that I will go home for dinner. If I don't go home for dinner, she will throw a tantrum again. Ouyang Hai exclaimed in surprise. If other people know that Mayor Jiang is afraid of your wife, they will laugh at you. It's not that I am afraid. I am just too busy and don't have much time to accompany my family. It's rare for me to have a day off. Jiang Zhao knew that Ouyang Xing was trying to make him give in and reject people of the same age. But as long as it was a descendant of a noble family, they should show due respect to their family's elders. It was just like how he had to salute Xi Jintian and Xianyo had to salute his grandfather. Even Fei Yan and Shen Kai, those famous foppish fellows, when they met the elders of the aristocratic families, they still had to lower their heads. Zhao Zhao, you're too much. Today, there's only you, me, Hai Zi, Junjun, and Qiu in the house. Our house isn't as complete as yours. Are you saying this for an old thing like me to hear? Or is it that this old thing is going to enter the coffin in a few years? You young people don't even want to have a meal with me. Yangxing had already walked to the door of the study, and his words seemed to be depressing. Jiang Zhao was speechless. Hey, fourth master, listen to what you're saying. I didn't hear anything. Jiang Zhao turned around and supported Yangxing. Let's go downstairs and eat. All right. Yangxing turned to Hai Zi and said, Hai Zi, go and take out the 2 little fists that I have hidden. After Hai Zi agreed, Yangxing said to Jiang Zhao, last time, this pair of wine bottles were the size of a fist, so I called them little fists. Tonight, let's drink this thing. It probably won't be enough for us to rinse our mouths. I know that you've been drinking white wine with your elders. After drinking, I still have some good wine in my collection. Let's drink a few more cups. Fourth grandpa, let's not drink wine. I still have to drive tonight. Yangxing straightened his back. How can that be? When men eat with men without drinking wine, is it called a man? You must drink tonight. Fourth grandpa's driver never drinks. Is his driving skills worse than a designated driver? Don't worry. After Jiang Zhao went downstairs, he went out of the hall and stood in the garden to make a phone call. The light on the horizon had faded, and the gray sky seemed a little depressing. Yun Yi. Yi Er's voice was sweet, as if the afternoon when she begged Jiang Zhao to take her to the family Ouyang had not happened at all. Hubby, I cooked a lot of Cantonese dishes tonight and made some soup to nourish you. Ha. Jiang Zhao reached out and rubbed his chin. He could imagine how much Yi Er's dishes suited his taste. Yi Er never put MSG in the dishes she cooked. After eating, he would not feel that the food he ate was tasteless. Yun Yi, I'm not going home for dinner tonight. Fourth grandpa insisted that I stay for dinner. You and dad eat first. Don't wait for me. But. Yi Er raised her head and blinked hard. She stretched out the hand that was holding the phone far away. Then, she sniffed hard. After choking, she put the phone back to her ear and smiled. But there's so much food. How can the 3 of us finish it? Then leave it for me. I'll have supper tonight, okay? But you don't like to eat supper. Yun Yi, be good, okay? I'll go back after dinner. Yi Er leaned against the guardrail on the balcony. A drop of water dripped from the back of her white hand, splashing some fine water foam. Okay, I'll be good. Come back after dinner. Don't lie to me. I'll wait for you. Okay. You and Gigai eat. The dining room was as bright as the sun, and the atmosphere was not depressing. As cunning as Yangxing was, the older the ginger, the spicier it was. When it came to scheming, even psychological hints would be in place step by step. At the dining table, Yangxing never mentioned Yang Yen. He only said that brothers should take care of each other. Every sentence he said hinted that Jiang Zhao should use his authority to make things easier for Jiang Zhao. Jiang Zhao's thoughts stopped at this level. He played Tai Chi and guarded his bottom line. The glass bottle that was the size of a small fist was like an oval crystal bowl. Paired with a small crystal glass, it was really exquisite. The table was filled with the aroma of wine. The small crystal glass contained very little wine, but the wine was mellow and fragrant. It was also full of alcohol. Jiang Zhao had a lot of social gatherings on a daily basis. No matter how concentrated the wine was, it was fine as long as it was not too bad for him. After Yang Yen returned to family Ouyang, Jiang Zhao greeted her. Yangxing called out to Yang Yen. Yun Yun, just in time. We're eating. Sit down and eat too. Yang Yen said, I've eaten. Then, she rolled her eyes at Jiang Zhao. What are you doing here? Jiang Zhao said calmly, "Oh, I'm here for a meal and then I'll leave." Did she think that he wanted to come? He also knew that it was not that simple to come over today. He was exhausted from the whole afternoon of playing Tai Chi around Line 2. It was Sunday, and he did not want to deal with these things at all. Eat. Don't you have food at home? Why did you come to my house for a meal? Ouyang Yen took off her coat and handed it to the servant. Jiang Zhao narrowed his eyes. This was strange. Ouyang Yen had never been like this. She would never speak so directly and sharply. Even if she was unhappy, she would beat around the bush. She would try to speak as calmly as possible. Now, her tone was very much like Yi Er's. When did Ouyang Yen become like this? Was she blaming him for making her move out of the apartment in the north of the city? After moving out for so long, she still could not find a place to live. Yun, you. Ouyang Xing put down his chopsticks and stopped her sternly. Ouyang Yen shouted back. What am I doing? Why did you ask him to come home for a meal? Hasn't he humiliated me enough? Now, you even brought him home for a meal. How can I face others in the future? Jiang Zhao did not care that Ouyang Yen did not give him face. In fact, he had been sitting on pins and needles for a long time. His wife had cooked a table full of dishes at home. It was not like he did not have food to eat. What kind of lousy boxing game was it? No matter how expensive it was not as good as the fruit wine that his wife learned from the elders at home. How could people like them understand that taste? Fourth grandfather, it's getting late. I'll go back first. When Jiang Zhao stood up, Ouyang Xing immediately stopped her. Zhao, don't lower yourself to Yun's level. She's a little bastard. Ouyang Yen snorted and ran upstairs. Jiang Zhao looked at the time. It was 8:00. She felt a little dizzy. She had eaten for a long time. Fourth grandfather, hi Z, it's really getting late. I have to go back. I have to go back to work tomorrow. Ouyang Xing sighed. Okay. It's different when you have a family. Hi Z, you should learn from Zhao. Ouyang Hai laughed. Grandsons are always better than others, right? You know, and you still say it. Family. Ouyang's chauffeur drove for Jiang Zhao. After getting in the car, Jiang Zhao wanted to sleep. Yi Er watched TV at home. She switched channels one by one. She paused on each channel for a few seconds. She was not satisfied with any of them until midnight. It should be supper now, right? She had to send Si Jia to school on Sunday night. At night, only Yi Er and Yun Hongwei were at home. Yi Er suddenly remembered what Jiang Zhao said in the morning. He wanted to buy a new house for her father. Actually, it was good to buy a new house. At least her father would not be worried when she was waiting for her husband at home. Yi Er wanted to be a sensible first wife. She wanted to be as generous and sensible as the first wife in ancient times. But she had reached her limit. Midnight was a sensitive time. Even if she was deceiving herself, she should know that she had been exposed when she saw someone coming to arrest her, right? She wanted to learn from Ouyang Yen to be generous, but she could not. She still had to make the call. She had been holding the phone in her hand all this time. It was burning hot. She dialed Jiang Zhao's number, but the response she got was, "The subscriber you have dialed is unavailable. Please try again later." She stood up from the sofa with a whoosh. To hell with your generosity. Before she left, she thought about it. This was the second time she was going to look for Jiang Zhao in front of her father. She lied to Yun Hongwei again, saying that Jiang Zhao had asked her to pick him up and that he was drinking outside. Yi Er went to the garage and got into the flashy off-road vehicle. She started the engine. She drove all the way to Qingbei condominium. She had the key to Qingbei, so she did not even knock on the door. She turned the key and entered. Jiang Zhao's shoes were not at the door, nor were they in the shoe cabinet. She searched the rooms one by one. It was empty. It was all empty. There was not a single person. Yi Er stood in the house that she used to live in. She realized that there was nothing more helpless than not being able to find a person. At this moment, she felt like a trapped beast. She was locked in this cage, turning around every corner. She always thought that they would be in the closet, under the bed, on the balcony, in the kitchen. She even opened the fridge to look for them. She knew that she had really gone crazy. If the place where the two of them slept together was not there, then where could they have gone? Jiang Zhao, Jiang Zhao. Are you enjoying the happiness of having multiple wives? Do you want to be like the men in ancient times, where the first wife takes good care of the second wife for you? That's right. He said it was the family Ouyang's old residence. But where was the family Ouyang's old residence? She took out her phone and flipped through the contacts one by one with trembling hands. Mother-in-law. It was too late. She could not make this call. Father-in-law. It was too late. Qin family's old residence. It was too late. Fian. Welfare, Songshu 566. Chapter 617. Yi Er hesitated for a while before calling Qin Fian. In Xia Qian's words, the Qin Palace was the largest and most luxurious place in Xi City. It was also the most luxurious place to take a bath. Qin Fian himself also liked to take a bath here, surrounded by mist. His devilish face leaned against the edge of the pool, his white skin was slightly red from the steam. When his phone rang, his phoenix eyes lazily opened, a little impatient. When his hand reached out from the pool, the sound of water could be heard. There was a white towel by his side. He dipped his arm on it and picked up the phone. When he saw the name of the caller, he frowned. Sister-in-law. Fian, I'm sorry. Are you asleep? Qin Fian sat up a little, half of his sexy upper body coming out of the water. No, sister-in-law. Do you have something to say to me? Fian, do you know where family Ouyang's old residence is? Although Yi Er always wanted to be quiet, if her voice was too loud, she would get agitated. Therefore, she had been suppressing her voice and slowing it down, but when it reached Qin Fian's ears, it was clear that her voice was trembling. Sister-in-law, what's the matter? Fian, can you tell me where family Ouyang is? Can you send me the address? Qin Fian was a man. He knew how cunning this world was. At this time, he couldn't be blamed for being bad. No matter how good Yi Er's personality was, no matter how likable she was still his sister-in-law. And Jiang Zhao was his brother. He could feel that his brother cared about his sister-in-law, but he also knew about Ouyang Yan's past. What was the meaning of asking about family Ouyang at this time? He couldn't speak carelessly. His brother should help cover for him at this time. No matter what, he was on his brother's side. Sister-in-law, don't be anxious. Where are you? Tell me. With a splash, the beautiful man came out of the bath. Qin Fian wrapped a bath towel around his waist, walked out of the pool, and entered the changing room. Fian, you can't bully me like this. You can't help your brother lie to me like this. Tell me, where is family Ouyang? If you don't tell me, I'll go find it myself. I'll go back to the Qin family to ask Grandpa now. I'm not afraid of causing trouble. I'm telling you, Fian, don't force me. Yi Er couldn't help but cry. Qin Fian was stunned. He thought that something big was about to happen. If Grandpa heard about it, he might try to persuade him. If Grandpa knew about it, he would definitely be punished according to the family rules. What's more, if he told Yi the address and went to find it himself, what if something happened? He had to follow her. Sister-in-law, tell me where you are. I'll pick you up and bring you there. Don't be agitated. I'll be there right away. Yi had already walked to the door. She took her bag and prepared to lock the door. I'm at the apartment in the north of the city. Your brother's house is here. Fian, I'll wait for you downstairs. Fian, you can't fool me. If you're not here in 20 minutes, I'll go find it myself. Qin Fian didn't dare to refuse. Yi-er's voice conveyed her emotions. She was very emotional and very irrational. Qin Fian called Jiang Zhao, but his phone was turned off. He called Ouyang Yen, but his phone was turned off. He called Ouyang Hai, but his phone was turned off. Even the family Ouyang house's phone was turned off. Someone had pulled out the phone line. The atmosphere was too strange. Yi didn't choose to wait in the room. Firstly, this was where Jiang Zhao and Ouyang Yen used to live. She couldn't stay there for too long. Staying there for even a minute would make her uncomfortable. Secondly, she needed to feel the cold wind. She needed to calm down. Although the blood in her body was cold, her brain was hot. It was like a volcano that could erupt at any time after the Earth's crust moved. Magma was boiling inside her body, and she could erupt at any time. Family Ouyang in the study, Ouyang Xing and Ouyang Hai were slowly brewing tea. Ouyang Hai just kept brewing but didn't drink. He seemed to be in a bad mood. Grandfather, I didn't agree to do this from the start. This time, you even included me in your calculations. Ouyang Xing was indifferent. For Yun, why do you have to be so calculative? If Jiang Zhao can marry Yun in the future, you and Jiang Zhao will be relatives. Are you afraid that he will hate you? Ouyang Hai was unhappy. For Yun. Grandfather, have you thought about the benefits of angering Jiang Zhao if this doesn't work out? Ouyang Xing didn't care. He and Yun have feelings for each other. He just doesn't have anyone to push him. Ouyang Hai rudely poured away the tea that he had just brewed and brewed it again. His voice was not loud. You're too confident. You're too confident in your granddaughter. Since young, you've always thought that she's outstanding in everything. Any man should love her to death, right? Ouyang Xing's face darkened. You're going overboard. Hai Zi, don't you want Yun to be happy? She's your biological sister. Yes. This biological sister of mine was raised by you single-handedly. So, you only care about whether your biological granddaughter can marry the man she likes. Grandfather, you'd rather destroy a temple than destroy a marriage. You only care about this kind of thing. Ouyang Xing threw the small purple sand in his hand onto the tea set. You just want to say that I'm biased. Aren't you biased? What's wrong with Junjun? Isn't her family background just a little ordinary? What trouble has she caused for you in the past few years after marrying me? Is Chocho not obedient? Isn't she cute? Ouyang Hai tugged at the tie around his neck. He stood up and imitated Ouyang Xing to throw the small purple sand in his hand, but it fell to the ground. The porcelain shards flew everywhere, and the tea foam flew everywhere. He took a deep breath. Grandfather, this is the last time you threaten me. I promise you, there won't be a next time. The next time you protect Yun and do something ridiculous, don't involve me in anything. I'll pretend that I don't know. But, the next time you kidnap Junjun and Chocho to the old mansion to threaten me, don't acknowledge me anymore. All the assets under your name can be given to Yun. I can't inherit such a generous amount of assets. Let our family of 3 live a little more peacefully. Ouyang Xing's face paled, and his entire body trembled. When he stood up, his voice trembled. Hi Z, you're all my flesh. Which part of grandfather doesn't dote on you? The family Ouyang's things are all yours. Yun Yun will eventually get married. Today's matter, grandfather didn't intend to use Junjun and Chocho to threaten you. If you'd been more obedient, grandfather. Ouyang Xing laughed self-deprecatingly. Be obedient. This matter is clearly Yun Yun being disobedient. You can make up this matter yourself, but you insist on making me drag it out. Do you want Zhang Xiao to have scruples in the future? Even so, do you need to use Junjun and Chocho to threaten me? Chocho is my biological son, grandfather. Do you have to favor Yun Yun to this extent? If that Zhang Xiao still has feelings for her, he definitely wouldn't have married Yun Yi. Ouyang Xing straightened his back and said loudly, do you think every man is as one-track minded as you? Ouyang Xing raised his chin, raised his eyebrows slightly, and said hatefully, I'm one-track minded. You're not one-track minded. Aren't you helping Yun Yun single-mindedly? Let her do whatever she wants. Go and pluck the moon for her. Hurry up and do it. Ouyang Xing understood that Ouyang Hai was complaining about his favoritism. Hai Zi. Yun Yun has always been sensible. All these years, when has she ever asked me for anything? When has she ever asked for anything from the family? She's always been very obedient. You can't reject your sister just because of this. That's right. You can't reject your sister because of this. Yes, she didn't ask for anything. When has she ever asked for anything that was a bastard request? When she was in university, she had a good relationship with Zhang Zhao. The family felt that the marriage between the two families was a strong alliance. They were about to get engaged. In a moment of impulse, she said that she didn't want to rely on the family to make a career. She didn't want to get engaged and threw Zhang Zhao aside. She wanted others to understand her. Old Master Qin even came to mediate. Old Master Jiang rushed over from Jiang district to say good things. What did you do? You even persuaded Jiang Zhao to let her go. At that time, she didn't want him. Now, she thinks that Jiang Zhao is good. What were you doing earlier? You continue to play along with her. I want to see what you two will do. Yun Yun isn't playing along. She's too young. She needs to learn to cherish her experience. Ouyang Hai felt too tired. He couldn't care about other people's happiness. He couldn't even protect himself. Continue to let her learn what life is. Grandfather, I've completed my task today, right? Can I bring my wife and child back now? Chocho is asleep. Hi Z, he's asleep. I'll go and hug him. Ouyang Hai turned around and exhaled. I feel embarrassed to stay here for even a minute longer. Hi Z. What did you say? When Ouyang Xing shouted, he felt his liver burn. Ouyang Hai turned around. His eyes were full of disdain. He smiled. I feel embarrassed. My biological sister must be an ugly monster. Otherwise, she must be crazy. All the men in Haiqing are dead. She can't get married. That's why I cooperated with you to set such a big trap for Zhang Zhao. Ouyang Xing was so angry that he was panting heavily. However, he knew that his grandson had been angry from beginning to end today. Hi Z, I've already said that everything in the Ouyang family belongs to you. Why are you fussing over such a small matter with your sister? Yun Yun doesn't want anything from you. She just likes Zhang Zhao. She's so generous. She doesn't want anything. She just wants Zhang Zhao, right? Ouyang Hai took off the tie around his neck and rubbed it. Holding it in his hand, he sneered. Just wait and see. If her marriage with Zhang Zhao doesn't work out, you'll have to clean up the mess later. Yang Hai left the study and ran up to the third floor. The children's room wasn't locked. He opened the door and saw that Ni Jun had fallen asleep with Cho in her arms. He reached into the blanket and touched Ni Jun's neck. Ni Jun was shocked. Yang Hai patted her shoulder to comfort her. Jun, get up and put on your clothes. Carry Cho. Let's go home. Ni Jun's eyes reddened and she nodded. After she put on her clothes, Cho was still sleeping soundly. Yang Hai handed the car keys to Ni Jun and took off his jacket to wrap Cho. Jun, drive the car to the door. It's cold outside. Cho will wake up later. Okay. I'll go right away. Ni Jun took the keys. Hai, bring Cho down in 5 minutes. Okay. Hurry up. Let's leave this place quickly. I don't want to stay here for another minute. 5 minutes later. Yang Hai carried Cho and sat in the back seat. Ni Jun turned on the headlights and flashed them at the big iron gate outside the villa. When the security guards saw them, he didn't let them in. Instead, he turned back to the security room and dialed the internal line to inquire. Attention, Hongcha 866.